of 2027, even though he's dealt with several medical issues in recent years. Jim Crisula, CBS News.
And still in Washington, Democrats trying to derail President Trump's choice to head the FBI. Here's Illinois Senator Dick Durbin.
My Senate Republican colleagues are willfully ignoring myriad red flags about Mr. Patel, especially his recurring instinct to threaten retribution against his perceived enemies.
Now, Democrats point to his post on social media referring to those involved in the Capitol riot as, quote, political prisoners. Patel, though, has the votes. Nearly all Republicans are poised to support him. The Senate Judiciary Committee calling him the right man at the right time. It's going to be really cold today, windy, highs around 37. You factor in the wind, it's going to be even worse. Will it warm up for the weekend? WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards will have Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast. That's coming up at 12:05. A final vote by the Fulton County School Board expected tonight on the issue of closing 2 popular schools there.
A report from the superintendent says Park Lane Elementary and Spalding Drive Elementary are aging, costly facilities with declining enrollment. But many parents refute those points and want the schools to remain. Board member Lily Pazatek says it isn't just about these 2 schools.
Making sure that we provide all students across the entire district, 87,000 of them, with the resources they need.
Consolidation is viewed as a way to reduce cost and redundancies. The public comments get underway at 6 with a final vote to follow. Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
And students at one metro school will have a story to tell after a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
We are going to be hearing from a real live astronaut aboard the International Space Station.
Woodward Mill Elementary students getting the chance to talk to an astronaut aboard the International Space Station and ask questions. Here's a little bit of that.
Hi, this is Joshua. Have you ever done a spacewalk? And if so, what was it like? Over?
I have done 2 spacewalks. Going outside your spacecraft is amazing, particularly the views through your helmet visor.
Now, Woodward Mill was picked because of their science fairs, robotics program, and awards. In Gwinnett County, police have released the name now of the man shot to death outside of McDonald's on Sugarloaf Parkway. Police say 43-year-old Donald Stewart of Commerce got into an argument with his boss, 40-year-old Michael Todd of Houston, facing murder charges now. He was still on the scene when police arrived. The 2 did not work at that McDonald's where that shooting occurred. A teenager's in the hospital this noon with a gunshot wound. This after Sandy Springs Police and Fulton County SWAT was called to a shooting early this morning.
This morning at 3:15 a.m., Sandy Springs Police received a call at 9401 Roberts Drive in reference to an individual shot.
Sandy Springs Police Sergeant Leon Milholland says this was at the Lodge on the Chattahoochee apartment complex. The female was taken to the hospital. 2 people detained for questioning. Services today for 49-year-old Joycelyn Wilson. Her body was found in Lake Oconee after she and her fiancé went out for a boat ride. His body has not yet been found. Wilson was a Mays High School graduate and taught math at Spelman College. Her funeral service was held at Zion Hill Baptist Church at Campbellton Road in Atlanta. It is now wrapping up. The head of DeKalb County government saying it is time to invest in public safety, and she plans to detail her initiative at a news conference next hour.
A new video from DeKalb County's CEO previews a $10.4 million plan to boost salaries for DeKalb County police. Lorraine Cochran-Johnson says DeKalb officers are getting lured away by departments with better pay and benefits.
Our officers are being recruited away to other jurisdictions offering better pay, benefits, and incentives.
Cochran-Johnson says there won't be a cost to taxpayers. It's about shifting the current budget to invest in public safety. Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
United Healthcare is offering some employees buyouts after posting record revenue. The offer comes amid a turbulent year for the insurance company, including the murder of its CEO, Brian Thompson. And then, of course, a massive cyber attack. Now, the buyouts are targeted at workers in the company's benefits operations unit. Those who decline the offer will either keep their jobs or get a comparable position. And there will be job cuts at Mercedes-Benz. They plan to cut jobs after the luxury automaker saw a sharp drop in earnings last year. The CEO saying today that Mercedes is, quote, taking steps to make the company leaner, faster, and stronger in an increasingly uncertain world. Let's take a look at the market. It's been a rough day on Wall Street. The Dow down 643 at 43,983. So the Dow's down almost 1.5%. NASDAQ's down almost a full percent. So is the S&P. Time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the 24-hour traffic center.
Looks like the pothole repair on the west side outer loop has wrapped up. They finished 285 southbound right around Hollowell Parkway, so those delays from South Atlanta Road will start to improve. Had a crash cleared out of the center lane downtown, 75-85 northbound up around Peachtree Pine Street. Exit exit number 249. Still slow back toward I-20, but that's getting better. And construction continues in DeKalb. Right lane, I-20 eastbound before Wesley Chapel. And the left lane of the collector distributor ramp also blocked in the same area coming off of I-285. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Now, Outline Radio's only 5-day forecast, sponsored by Shoemate, the official heating of winter.
Sunny skies, but breezy today. Wind gusts as high as 30 miles per hour, pulling in that Arctic air, limiting our daytime highs to the mid-30s. Clear and cold tonight with a hard freeze. Lows in the upper teens to low 20s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high 46. Another hard freeze for Saturday morning, low 25. Saturday afternoon, partly cloudy, high 52. Warming up on Sunday, morning low 30, afternoon high 56. Sunny skies on Monday, morning low 34, afternoon highs in the low 60s. Temperatures climbing to the upper 60s, low 70s by the middle of next week.
29 degrees in Midtown Atlanta. The feels like temperature is 15. We'll have more news at 12:30, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Today on The Eric Erickson Show, he's the winner of the Georgia Broadcasting Association Best On-Air Personality Award and a director, producer, and actor. Filling in for Eric today, Alan Sanders.
Hey everyone, and it is so great to be back with you here in the studios of the Eric Erickson Show. Heard coast to coast, sea to shining sea across this wonderful fruited plains of ours. And thank you for being here. And thank you, Eric, for inviting me back. I am Alan Sanders. The Alan Sanders Show is where you would normally find me. And it is great when I get the chance to pop in and say hello. Let's just start off right off the bat. You know things are not going to go your way if you can't get the sympathy of the UN. I mean, let's face it, the Little Dictators Club, which is the United Nations, we know that they've had a long-standing tradition of having a sympathy for terrorists around the world, specifically Palestinians and Hamas. And we understand that the UNRWA has long since been a corruptive influence to continue to keep generations of young terrorists schooled into hatred. We know there's a big anti-Semitic wing that comes out of that element of the United Nations. So you know it's got to be pretty bad if the UN issued a statement today condemning Hamas. Like, wait a second, what happened? Well, I've got a little bit of audio here I want to play just to give you a sense of the jubilant atmosphere. This is from the AP. This was earlier Middle East time, so it was about 7 hours before you and I woke up this morning, when the bodies of 4 people and then 3 others were escorted in parade style to the Red Cross to be delivered to Israel. Music playing, everyone's wearing masks, they've got their jihad headbands on, kids with guns, people cheering, music playing. I mean, it's a regular party atmosphere. You're seeing these 3 Israelis that are still alive being pushed out of a van. And then they have the caskets. They decided, and I'll just stop playing that, to parade the bodies of 2 little kids and their mom. You know, I've made the comment even on this filling in before, because October 7, over 500 days ago, I have commented, because I've been on the air with you guys many times since that point. You keep hearing 2-state solution. We need a 2-state solution. The only way toward peace is we've got to have a 2-state solution. What I saw, and some of the images I'm never going to get out of my head for the rest of my life, what I saw in the aftermath of October 7th, with all of the jubilant, gleeful calls back home to mom and dad. Mom, Dad, guess what? I just butchered a Jew. I just destroyed a family. I lit them on fire. Oh, I'm so proud, son. I mean, this is the stuff that you can't even, you try as a Westerner to wrap your mind around it. I said from that point on, there can be no two-state solution when you've got one culture who believes in nothing but death and another that believes in life. You cannot have a two-state solution when one group wants to butcher, destroy, maim, and otherwise dominate anyone who isn't them. It's impossible. And we're seeing it over and over and over. I'm a member of an organization that's been keeping track in real time of what's going on in Israel. This was the statement first thing this morning. I woke up to this. Hamas parades the bodies. The story, Hamas has set up a Squid Games-like viewing area in Khan Yunis, south of Gaza City, and will parade the Bibas' baby bodies in front of the crowd before turning them over to the Red Cross for transport to Israel. The coffins are labeled with a picture of each hostage as well as a propaganda message. And here's what Israel was willing to pay to get the bodies of these 3 or 4 people returned, the 4 dead, and I believe it was 6. I said 3, but I believe it's 6 live hostages. I want you to imagine paying this price to get the bodies of 4 people back, including a mother, and at the time of their kidnapping, a 9-month-old and a 3-year-old. The 9-month-old would have had his first birthday in captivity, if he had been alive even that long, we don't know, would have been technically 2, and the other sibling 5. According to the terms that apparently Hamas is able to force on Israel. The total number of terrorists to be released in exchange of 6 alive hostages and the bodies of 4 more people, 50 mass murderers with life sentences, 47 repeat terrorists who were released, and another 445 male Gazan detainees from the ground maneuvers since October 7 of nearly a year and a half ago. Imagine when you're dealing with the culture of death, they understand that we in Western society, in civilized society, in a part of our ongoing life on this planet as human beings, that they know that we are willing to make that trade, that we hold life so sacred that they are willing to release convicted mass murderers, other known terrorists, plus almost 500 male combatants for 6 live people and 4 bodies. How fair is that? How fair is it? They get to have a little party south of the square here before handing these folks over to the Red Cross. They've got everyone lined up with all of their guns and their masks, and they're making a great show of it, and it's all propaganda, and it's all going out all over their network streaming, all over the internet. The joy and jubilation because they're going to get back almost 450 combatants, 50 mass murderers who were imprisoned and sentenced, and 47 repeat terrorists. What a deal for them. What a deal for the terrorists. What a deal for Hamas. It's because we value life. And I can't say that it's a bad thing, but it makes you angry. If it was my sibling, if it was my parent, if it was my child that I knew we could get back and we would have to release 500 criminals, 500 terrorists, how do you say, no, kill my child? And the Hamas monsters, these pre-civilization Islamists, this view of 7th, 8th, 9th century kind of barbarism, pre-civilization, pre-society, they know that. And they use it to their advantage, as we've seen. It's so hard to wrap my mind around. A buddy of mine who lives in Israel, who's been going through this, shared a story with me that I want to share with you before we get to our first break. It was written as an opinion piece in a local Jewish publication, but translated here into English, with the opening headline that says, "The terrorist who murdered my brother is being released." He knew the person who killed his brother, who had been captured and was in custody by Israel, had been negotiated his release. And he says, I know that person's being released, but Ari, his brother, Ari's death will lead to the freedom of hostages. He writes, as part of this current hostage deal, the terrorist who murdered my brother, Ari Fuld, is set to be released. While this brings immense pain, it also highlights the complexity of the exchange. My brother's death indirectly led to the freedom of hostages who suffered for months. Ari's legacy, both in life and death, continues to inspire, and his heroism is tied to the deal that will reunite families. How much faith and intestinal fortitude do you need to have to be able to say something like that, to be able to say, you know, even though they killed him and the guy who did it is in our custody, if releasing the murderer of my brother can reunite somebody else's family, it's worth it. I want to know that I'm that kind of a person, that were to ever happen. I want to know if I'm even capable of that kind of grace, of that kind of humility before whatever you believe, God. To be able to say, look, the death of my brother at the hands of this heinous terrorist is going to actually be used for good. And even though I'm upset about the terrorist getting away, we've got a family that's going to be reunited. I don't know how you can ever have a two-state solution when this is what we're up against. When you're up against a group of people who thought it would be a good idea to have a rave-like celebration, all with guns and face masks and jihad banners, all laughing, all the kids out of school. It must have been a school holiday. Maybe they're on winter break. To watch caskets with faces of a 2-year-old at most, whenever that picture was taken, captured at 9 months old, and a 5-year-old and their mother, who just grasped them, if you saw the pictures of them, in horror, knowing they were being taken. And the people, not just Hamas, folks, the, quote, Palestinians in Gaza, laughing, jeering, dancing. Oh, this was a good old time. It was so bad, folks, even the UN said the hostage handover ceremony was cruel and despicable. It is so bad that longtime Palestinian sympathizer, a woman, a medical doctor in our country by the name of Pradeep Shankar, put out on X today, I have long supported a Palestinian state. My support is now at an all-time low. If they can't convince people like me, they are doomed, and it's their own fault. Folks, I know that while there are still hostages alive, or the potential of them being alive, Hamas will always be able to play this card because we in the West value life. We value human life. We value our humanity. And no matter what our ideological differences, no matter what separates us in terms of our demographics, whether it's hair color, eye color, skin color, who we love, who we don't love, what we think we are, the one thing that unites just about every single person in Western civilization, outside of those who are suffering severe psychosis, is a reverence and a respect for life. We all want to live. We cherish life. We want those around us to live as long as possible. We don't wish harm in general on anyone unless, again, we're dealing with some of the worst dregs of society. We value life. And as long as we do, the terrorists are going to have that one, no pun intended, trump card to play on us. They're going to be able to use that card to get their way for a time being. But when you've got the UN now saying This was despicable, and you've got known Palestinian sympathizers putting out publicly, if you're turning my stomach at this, this is not good. Maybe we could finally see that what I've been telling folks for a long time now, you cannot have a two-state solution when one of those states wants nothing but death.
Americans for Prosperity is the largest leading grassroots organization in the United States, and they are backing President Trump's tax cuts. They'd love to have you with them as well. If you go to protectprosperity.com, you can educate yourself on the state of play in D.C. It's kind of complicated. You got the Senate moving a plan and the House moving a plan. The House wants one bill. The Senate wants two bills. They've all got to be combined in some way to pass the Senate's Byrd Rule to make it reconciliation legislation so it bypasses the filibuster. All of this is explained and laid out in easy-to-understand terms by Americans for Prosperity at protectprosperity.com. Not only that, but you can click the action button and you can reach out to your members of Congress and start seeding the ground, trying to get them to understand you as a constituent of theirs want them to stand for cuts and advance the tax cuts. It's one of the things America's largest leading grassroots group does. That's Americans for Prosperity. And they'd love to have you go to protectprosperity.com today. Sign up, take action, get educated, and get involved.
Want to be on the show?
Hello? I love your show.
Call Eric now at 877-973-7425.
1221 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. New trouble in Cobb. It's a stalled truck, I believe. 285 northbound, the inner loop, Paces Ferry Road, exit 18, right in that center lane. Slowing you already as you leave South Atlanta Road. Checking on possibly something before that. 285 northbound, the inner loop. It's getting slow right around Cascade Road, exit 7. Had a crash, 75 southbound, just below Northside Drive, exit 252. That was in a center lane. They pushed that off to the right. And a couple of crashes moved out of travel lanes downtown. 75, 85 northbound up around Peachtree, Pine Street, exit 249. Brake lights start just before I-20. Construction continues in the cab, 20 eastbound approaching Wesley Chapel, collector distributor ramp in the left lane. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Stay connected to Atlanta's news, weather, and traffic with the 95.5 WSB app. Listen to Atlanta's morning news. EVH, Eric Erickson, Mark Aram, and Shelley Winter, no matter where you go. 95.5 WSB and the WSB app. Download it today or find us in the iHeart and Odyssey apps.
It's Eric here, and with the election ended, there is change in the air. A new day dawns for American businesses. New regulations, new deregulation, new tax plan, new tax cuts. You may be smelling opportunity in the air. You may be seeing opportunity. Now is the time to consider reaching out to First Liberty Building and Loan and see if they might be able to help you put your plan that's in your head down to paper and see if they can help you capitalize on it. There's so many opportunities out there. If you need to borrow $750,000 or more, well, First Liberty might be able to help you. They make their own lending decisions. They've been doing it since the 90s. They know how to do it, and because the Frost family's been helping businesses since the 90s, they're still going to be there. You're not going to have lender rollover like you've had at other places. Reach out to them, firstlibertyga.com. FirstLibertyGA.com. Spend 10 minutes with them. See if you're a fit for them and them for you. FirstLibertyGA.com.
Belinda Skelton here for Virtual Imaging, and I have their Chief Operating Officer, Barry Petrie, here in the studio. Barry, tell us what Virtual Imaging is all about.
Thanks, Belinda. Great to be here. So we have been in business for 15 years, and what we do is that we empower folks in the Atlanta area to come in and advocate for their own health and scan for things like heart disease, cancer, aneurysms, and other ailments as well.
How important is it for folks to get that heart scan?
Very important. Heart disease is the number one killer of Americans, so that's the most important test we want to get as a baseline. Most Americans will die as a result of cardiovascular disease. So if you're going to get one test, that's the one you want to get. And that test will quickly tell you if you have any calcium or plaque in your 5 arterial pathways. The scan itself will take less than 10 minutes, and you will get your results within a day or two.
Barry, I know that virtual imaging screens for so many different things. Tell us what some of the areas of the body you screen for.
We can do anything from head to pelvis. So we can do the heart scan, we can do the head scan, we can also do what I call a core body scan. So So that's looking at all those areas between your neck and your pelvis. We're looking for aneurysms. We're looking for tumors. We're looking for cancer, any of those things. So think of this as an ability to do a very wide screening area of the body.
This is Heart Health Month, so you have an offer for us.
Anyone who calls in will get a free heart scan for you and a spouse.
And that number to call is 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Go to virtualimagingatl.com.
Heavy rain can significantly impact your septic system by saturating the soil and causing backups in your home. I'm Shannon, owner of Scorpion Septic. We can help. My licensed, insured, experienced team responds 24/7 with upfront pricing and high-quality work.
Take the sting out of septic service with Scorpion Septic, where there is never a pump-out charge with your repair. Details online.
ScorpionSepticServices.com. Did you know there's money hidden in your yard? Really? Truly. Water furnace heat pumps actually pull the energy stored in the ground and turn it into free, renewable energy to keep your home comfortable in every climate. A water furnace geothermal system can save you up to 70% on your heating, cooling, and hot water costs. 70% off your utility bills. It's the only type of system that will pay you back. Most homeowners with water furnace geothermal save more on monthly bills than they actually pay for the system when installation costs are financed. See how much you could save by visiting our savings calculator at waterfurnace.com. Now, are you ready for the bonus? A 30% federal tax credit for residential ground source heat pump installations has been extended through 2032. More money back to you. Save up to 70% on your heating, cooling, and hot water costs with Water Furnace. Take 5 minutes to check it out at waterfurnace.com/ATL and then start saving.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Join Eric's Army of Activists. Text ARMY to 33777 now.
Welcome back, everyone. Hello, America. I guess I'm all across the fruited plain. I could say hello, America. Alan Sanders filling in for Eric Erickson. Great to be here. By the way, I forgot to give you the number. It's 877-97-ERIC, E-R-I-C-K. Longtime listeners, you got that number memorized, right? 877-973-7425. Feel free to give me a call if there's something on your mind. If I spark a thought, you want to argue with me or you want to agree or something in between, you just got to make it past the call screener. That's your job. That's not my job. I can only inspire you to call, but whether or not you have anything worth hearing, that's going to be on you. I want to just read this very quickly since we're kind of coming on the backside of this exchange that now may have been for the first time in my lifetime a moment that we're seeing. Did they push it too far? When you've got the UN telling Hamas, you know, this is bad. This was despicable, their words. When you have known Palestinian sympathizers, will this change members of the squad? I doubt it. I mean, that terrorist, I guess it's an anti-Semite, pro-Palestine, by way of extension, pro-terrorist wing of the Democrat Party. That group of people, there's going to be no convincing them because they kind of like what the Palestinians are doing. They probably secretly were okay with what's going on. They just got to hide it. But 4 of the girls were interviewed that were released a couple of weeks ago. And the headline about their story is they saw friends murdered or allowed to slowly die. 4 girls said that the terrorists guarding them, try to imagine this, forbade crying or holding hands, yet they found ways to support each other, picking up Arabic along the way and having to use black humor to help process their experiences. The trauma that these young people will have said to have gone through is forever. It's going to be forever for these folks. The psychological damage, yes, they may physically, their bodies may still be alive and their injuries they'll be able to recover from. But the psychological trauma of watching people being massacred or left to slowly die from their untreated injuries, to be told you're not allowed to comfort, you're not allowed to hold hands, you're not allowed to commiserate, it's going to be with them forever. I will tell you, there is a little secret place deep down in the primitive side of my brain that says, yes, do everything you can to get back anybody who may still be alive. But if I'm President Netanyahu, or Prime Minister Netanyahu, I think is it president? Got to double check that. I'd be ready to get revenge when this is done.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This is new this afternoon. The Fulton County Medical Examiner has just now identified the 3 children killed in an apartment fire here in Atlanta. 4-year-old Jakari White, 1-year-old Zyla White, and 9-month-old Zalia White were all killed in Wednesday's fire on Fairburn Road in southwest Atlanta. The medical examiner will perform autopsies on the 3 children. There is no definitive cause of death. Your weather for today, sunny, windy, and very cold. Not going to get out of the 30s, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Actually high around 37. You factor in the wind, it's going to be much worse. Senator Mitch McConnell, who has served both as majority leader and minority leader, has made a formal announcement to leave the Senate when his term expires in 2027.
7 times, my fellow Kentuckians have sent me to the Senate. Every day in between, I've been humbled by the trust they placed in me.
Now, congressional correspondent Nicole Killian says McConnell has established a record during his tenure in the Senate.
McConnell is the longest-serving Senate party leader in U.S. history.
And he made the announcement today on his 83rd birthday. Lawsuits are now being filed against Delta Airlines in that crash in Toronto. One of the passengers, who's from Austin, says it was terrifying when that regional jet flipped over and skidded to a stop on a runway.
He immediately felt pain in his back after he dropped from the seatbelt. Of course, they were dropping down to the ceiling because the CRJ was upside down.
His attorney, Andres Perea, says his client was covered in jet fuel as they crawled to safety. They were then forced to wait, standing on a shuttle bus for 2 hours. The cause of the crash still under investigation this afternoon. This is new at 12:30. Emory Healthcare is expanding to all Minute Clinic locations across Georgia, offering a network adult primary care to patients. Emory saying that there will be same-day access to care, extended evening and weekend hours at the Minute Clinics, and patients will also have access to Emory hospitals and specialists. It's 12:32.
Has your pest control company told you they won't be coming inside anymore and they raised their prices? Mark Aram here for my bug and critter company, Breda Pest Management. They protect the outside and inside of your home. It's the bugs inside you want gone. So if your pest company is doing less and charging more, you need Breda. Get started at BREDAPest.com.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
It all started as a front door dream. You want those beautiful double doors for the front entrance of your home. But every company you talk to said that single door just can't go double. But with us, you can. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage and Entry Doors. We specialize in removing your dated single front door, side lights, and transom, replacing them with a beautiful double door, customized for that space to impress and welcome your guests. Get started at all4seasonsgarages.com.
Hi, I'm David Nicholas, financial advisor and president of Nicholas Wealth Management. It's hard to imagine, but one day in retirement, your income will stop. You may have been working for 30 or 40 years, but now you'll have to depend on the money you've saved for the next 30 years. How do you know if you've saved enough? What does it mean to spend confidently in retirement? One of the worst things that you can do is get to retirement and not know how much income your investments can produce. At Nicholas Wealth, we created a plan that will show you what your investments can potentially generate in dividends, interest, and growth in retirement. We call this our Spend Confidently plan. When's the best time to turn on Social Security? What are some of the best dividend-paying stocks available? Our CPAs and CFPs will show you what your income number is and how a diversified portfolio of income-producing investments could potentially provide you consistent monthly income. Our Retire Ready Income Report, it's a $1,000 value. We'll provide it completely complimentary if you've saved more than $250,000 for retirement and you give us a call in the next 10 minutes. Number to call is 404-890-5606. That's 404-890-5606, or you can go to nicholaswealth.com.
Nicholas Wealth is an independent financial services firm that uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is prepared for informational purposes only. It does not address specific investment objectives or the financial situation and the needs of any person. This is a paid advertisement.
All right, Alex Williams, how are we doing on the roads?
A little bit of a trouble spot over on the west side inner loop as you head up to Cobb County. Stalled truck in the center lane, 285 northbound. The inner loop, Paces Ferry Road, exit 18. You're slow coming up from South Cobb Drive. Downtown, seeing some volume, 7585 southbound, 17th Street down past North Avenue. Northbound slows, University Avenue, passing Freedom Parkway. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunny skies through this afternoon, staying cold. High 35, wind chills in the 20s.
We'll have more news at 1 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Alan Sanders.
Hey, everyone. Good day to you whenever you're listening, wherever you happen to be, coast to coast. Thanks for being here. I am going to move on to, I guess, the rest of the main team that Donald Trump first tried to get into their positions. We're down to Kash Patel. Kash Patel, the nominee to be head of the FBI. Now, for those of you who do follow me personally, my daily show, you can find me, The Alan Sanders Show, wherever you find great podcasts, just like a lot of folks today. If you don't have access to local radio, you don't have access to the local program, we make sure we always put it out so you can just get the show whenever you want on demand. So check that out from your podcatcher of choice. But I've talked about and covered every one of the big hearings, the comments, the way the Democrats chose to act in their 5 minutes of questioning, the way the Republicans acted, the final votes. We have had certainly some of the most partisan voting from the advise and consent clause in the U.S. Constitution, as we've seen with Donald Trump's nominees, almost always coming down to split party line vote. You look back, even when President Biden took over and had his nominees, almost always all went through or only a handful of no votes. But it was almost always like, okay, that's part of winning the presidency. The president gets to name their cabinet unless there's something, seriously wrong with the candidate. The advise and consent is more about just, I don't want to say formality, because it is a check and balance and it should be taken seriously. But when I say taken seriously, it should be things like, hey, it's a job interview. Tell me, what's going to be the first thing you want to do day one? What do you feel about women in the workforce? What do you think about the current training standards? What's your philosophy on law enforcement? You would think somebody being, head of the FBI, the chief law and premier law enforcement and investigative agency in the United States, you'd think that those would be the questions you'd get. Tell me about your philosophy on law enforcement. Tell me how you deal with and what's your background and what are your first steps? What do you want to accomplish in the first 30, 60, 90 days? That's not what we got. It's not what we got with anybody, from the Democrats anyway. The left was not interested in actually a job interview. They were interested in smear tactics. They were interested in fear-mongering. That's all they have, folks. And thankfully, it's starting to play itself out to the point that I think a lot of these voices, a lot of these shrill, hyperbolic machinations of these leaders on the left are going nowhere. And because the legacy mainstream media is at an all-time low for trust, and I'm talking about the national, I'm talking about your ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, all those national, even to an extent, Fox. I mean, there are a lot of legacy cable news outlets that have become so bad at propaganda and become so transparent at what they're doing as being state-run propaganda. And then when we have USAID discovered and we see that Elon Musk and his team go, oh, by the way, did you know USAID, this $40 billion slush fund, there were about 6,200 journalists worldwide that were dipping into this money, and there were about 700 media institutions that were being paid out of this, and there were another almost 300 non-government organizations, which is kind of a joke, isn't it? An NGO. We're not a government organization. How do you exist? Government grants. Wait, what? Yeah, we don't exist if we don't get government money, but we're a non-government organization. Oh, okay. 300 of them, NGOs in media, also being paid by USAID. And you start going, maybe that's why all the newscasts start sounding the same. They all start using the same focus-tested words and phrases. They all sound like they just got the same script. And I think people are checking out because they're starting to finally realize what those of us in new media have been telling you for years now. They are paid propagandists. They're not interested in fact. They're not interested in truth. They're not interested in the who, what, where, when, why, or how. They're interested in shaping a narrative. They're interested in propaganda. And I think the folks on the left who have been surviving as long as they have, especially in the leadership positions of the Democrat Party, the reason that they've been going as long as they have down this path of being able to get away with their histrionics, with their machinations, is because they knew their dutiful servants within legacy mainstream media would be able to come over and just repeat what they said. They'd be able to just, I'll pander, I'll say ridiculous things, I'm going to say fearful things, half-truths, I'm just going to lie. And I know my willing friends in legacy mainstream media are going to support me. They're going to replay it. They're going to have panel discussions. They're going to bring in guests who are going to repeat the same thing. And we're going to help spread the narrative. This is where we are. This is what we're going to do. And it worked for so many years. I felt like, voices like Eric, like me, others, we're like, hey, we're telling you what's really happening here. Stop being fooled by nightly news. It's great when they want to tell you about the fire or the murder, but when it comes to politics, when it comes to what's going on in Washington, D.C., especially at the national level, you can't trust legacy mainstream media. Well, there was a vote today, and I think it's already had the first vote, the cloture vote, to end the debate and get ready for a floor vote for Kash Patel took place. But, they had to, right off from the very beginning, they had to start off with trying one more last-ditch effort to try to fearmonger, to put the fear into all of the folks getting ready to pass Kash Patel as FBI director. And we got to start off with the known and the former designated liar. Jamie Raskin, for me, is the new designated liar. This is a position that the Democrats actually, somewhere in the back room, they decide, okay, who's the guy we can send out to all the talk shows, whether it's during the week at night or on the Sunday talk show circuit? Who's the one person who is so good at lying and doesn't have a conscience and can do it without shame and without any fear, will just get out there and lie? That used to be Adam Schiff. He got censured. He got caught. He got pulled out. He ended up getting, out of the House of Representatives, and they had to pass it to somebody. So that's now Jamie Raskin. Jamie Raskin's the guy you always see going on all the talk shows with all the lies. But here comes Adam Schiff back. Now he's on the Senate side because he ran for Senate, the U.S. Senate in California. And so he wants his title back. So he got out to the microphones first thing this morning, and did he polish off the fear-mongering, and he wants everyone to know what a horrible person Kash Patel would be.
This is someone we cannot trust. This is someone who lacks the character to do this job, someone who lacks the integrity to do this job. We know that. Our Republican colleagues know that. The only qualification Kash Patel has to be FBI director is that when everyone else in the first Trump administration said, no, I won't do that, that crosses moral, ethical, and legal lines, Kash Patel said, sign me up. In the first Trump administration, as we are seeing in the second, you rise to the level of your sycophancy, and no one is a bigger or more dangerous sycophant than Kash Patel. This political hack does not deserve to be in this building. He can't do the job. He won't protect the public. He will misuse the resources of the Bureau. He will weaponize it against the president's political opponents rather than protecting the public safety of the American people.
To quote Shakespeare, methinks thou dost protest too much, sir. Adam, lying piece of Schiff, is out there doing his best to try to win over a handful of senators to not vote for Kash Patel. Isn't it ironic? A guy who needed an unconditional, a completely preemptive pardon for crimes never assessed, never alleged, never brought to bear, never discovered, never uttered. And yet Joe Biden said, I need to give this guy, before I leave office, a full and complete preemptive covering any and all crimes that might be discovered sometime in the future. We're not suggesting he did anything wrong, though, right? Because, remember what the rules were when you were the Democrats? You don't get pardons unless you're guilty. Until now. Now you get pardons because what if Donald Trump comes after you? Yeah, it's a preemptive pardon because Donald Trump is such a bad guy. We gotta make sure he gets a pardon. Well, if that's the case, why didn't they pardon everybody Only a handful of these folks got pardons, folks. Notice the vast majority of those last-minute preemptive pardons was everybody in the Biden family. I know, we're not supposed to call them the Biden crime family, and yet they all got preemptive pardons. And I was told, under good authority, and I could play the montage of sound bites, but I don't want to bore you, that for night after night after night, as Donald Trump was getting ready to leave office, and there was this discussion, what if Donald Trump hands out preemptive pardons? What if he pardons people? And then every single night, well, you don't pardon innocent people. Remember? Every single night prior to January 6th, when they completely forgot about the whole pardoning thing and went to the J6 insurrection talking points. If you got a pardon, it's because you know you did something wrong. Even if you haven't been caught, you know you did something wrong. So keep in mind, this guy who's telling you that Kash Patel is a political hack who's going to weaponize the FBI against the president's political opponents is coming from the very guy who at the one point in time at the beginning of the Trump presidency served on the House Intelligence Committee, giving him the gravitas of having access to intelligence, and he'd go out night after night after night and tell the American people, I've seen the Russian collusion. I've seen the communication. I've seen the evidence. And night after night after night, the media ran with Adam Schiff as the in the spotlight, the guy who said he saw the evidence. And of course, everybody now knows, at least anybody that's not suffering from debilitating Trump derangement syndrome, that was always the lie. It was a manufactured hoax to try to keep Donald Trump from doing what he's doing now. See, Donald Trump didn't come into the office with the proper plan at the time. He wanted to make the economy great. He did want to make America great again. If you go back and look at any of the speeches Donald Trump ever gave on television, to Oprah, to David Letterman, anywhere, he always has been consistent. Why do we let other countries take advantage of us? Why are we letting them tax us? Why are they letting them tariff us? Why are we always the ones who have to fund everything? Why don't other countries step up? I mean, it's amazing how consistent this guy has been on message for 20, 30 years. Donald Trump wanted to, in the first time in office, do the things he's doing now. But I think what he didn't know is just how bad it was. And look at the plan this time around. Look at what he's done. That 4 years, the 4 years of the lawfare, of the media going after him, after the DOJ going after him, after having both city attorney generals, both in Atlanta and New York, as well as the illegal, now we found out, the unconstitutional special counsel Jack Smith, all of that to try to crush him, separate the people from him, try to make sure he can never get back in office. They feared what he was about to stumble upon the first time and spent 4 years of the Joe Biden regime doing anything and everything they could to keep him from getting back in office. And now they are in sheer terror. You know it's bad when the very Democrats who love spending taxpayer money are not jumping on the Doge bandwagon. Look, I've said this to my audience. I'm going to sell it to the Eric Erickson Show. I'm sure Eric has said something similar. Why in the world wouldn't any sane Democrat right now, seeing all the billions and billions wasted, whether it's untraceable payments, payments going to contracts that had expired 10 years ago, payments going to people who are 150 years old on the Social Security rolls, why wouldn't any sane Democrat go to their constituents and say, folks, we have got to get this money back. Do you know how much more we could do for you? Do you know how many more bridges we could buy? Do you know how many more schools we could build? Why? Why aren't we seeing a single Democrat jumping on the bandwagon of, hey, all this money that we're wasting, we could do so much more with it? You know, it never occurs to them, well, maybe we don't need all this much money if we're wasting it all. It never occurs to them, return it to the taxpayer. Never occurs to them that we're taxed too much already. But why? Why not just jump on the bandwagon of, hey, look at all this money Doge is finding. Yeah, I'm ticked too. Send me back and I'll make sure we buy more things for you. We'll get you more goodies. Vote for me and I'll get you more goodies. But they're not. They're not doing that. And then you've got Adam Schiff out here who's got his preemptive pardon for all of his wrongdoing. I mean, sorry, only now innocent people get pardons. It used to be that only guilty people got them until it happened to the Democrat Party. Now we're supposed to believe Adam Schiff is as pure and clean as the wind-driven snow. Adam Schiff is out there trying to convince you that it's Kash Patel who's the political hack, that it's he who will weaponize the tools of the federal government. I'll say again, methinks thou dost protest too much, because generally someone who's that guilty of what they've done are now suffering from the very projection of accusing the very other people on the other side of what they know they themselves are guilty of.
If you go to EdenPureDeals.com today and put in ERIC3, ERICK3, you can get 3 Eden Pure Thunderstorms, save $200, get them for less than $200, and wipe out odors in your home. Not only do they trap the dust and the pollen that's floating in the air, they also just eliminate odors. So the Eden Pure Thunderstorm generates ozone, which isn't gas, which floats around and grabs hold of odor ions and wipes them out, neutralizes them. Wherever there's an ion, there can be ozone molecules, and it'll wipe out those odors. I've used it in rental cars. I've used it in hotel rooms. I've been in hotels that use them themselves. You can get 3 of them for less than $200 and save $200. EdenPureDeals.com. Discount code ERIC3. Going for upstairs, downstairs, your basement, your attic, your RV, your travel bag, wherever you need them, and start wiping out odors. Got a dirty diaper room, got a nursery, you got a wet dog, it'll take care of those odors. Cooking odors, musty odors, smoke odors, you name it. EdenPureDeals.com. Discount code ERIC3.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1251 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Police holding the right lanes right now, 285 northbound. The inner loop, Paces Ferry Road, exit 18, getting a crash off to the right. That's the reason for the delays back toward Bolton Road. Downtown also slow, 75-85 northbound. University Avenue up past Peachtree, Pine Street, couple of crashes off to the right there. And construction continues into Cab, 20 eastbound, the collector distributor ramp between 285 and Wesley Chapel. That's in the left lane, and the right lane of the I-20 eastbound through lanes also blocked for road work. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSC.
He's the guy at the desk next to you.
I've got a sense of humor.
He's your co-pilot for the ride home.
The driver of this vehicle is a better human being than you are.
He's Eric Von Hessler.
I'm here to tell you the truth.
Eric Von Hessler.
Today at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Breda knows how critical it is to protect the inside of your home, not just the outside, against bugs and critters. Termites are the most destructive pests of all. They literally eat your house. Dave Baker here for Breda Pest Management. I bet your termite company just walks around outside, checking random bait stations and telling you you're termite free. But are you? How can they claim that when they haven't even inspected inside? Only Breda protects your home from termites with a complete liquid barrier system, not just bait stations, and only Breda's early detection process will thoroughly inspect your entire home with advanced infrared cameras. Breda is so confident they guarantee your protection and will lock in your termite rate for 10 years. Breda Pest Management, they handle bugs and critters like termites. Get started at BREDAPest.com.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group, to discuss one of the biggest blind spots that people face when saving for retirement, and it's a head-scratcher. Chris, how do so many people not know what they're invested in?
That's the biggest flaw that everybody runs into. They think they know what equities they have, they think they know what bonds they have, but they really don't know how those mutual funds or how those index funds are performing in conjunction with one another. So, I would liken this to a big pot of soup, and we're just throwing all the ingredients in the refrigerator in this thing. It's not very good. It's just a mishmash of stuff. And sometimes you like the way it tastes. Sometimes you don't. And when you don't know why. You don't know if you got too much chicken in there or too much vegetables in there or what's going on. And I ask every caller that comes in for an initial consultation, do you know how your portfolio is broken down? And they say, well, I've got, 20 or so options in my 401k, and I just picked 2 of them or 3 of them. I thought I needed some international. I thought I needed some U.S. equities. I thought I needed some bonds. And they're just guessing. So you have to absolutely know what you're invested in, and that's where we will run the 401k portfolio x-ray for you, because that'll break it down. If you're not proficient at investing and don't understand this world, we will walk you through it. Not knowing what you're invested in is a big hindrance to growing and protecting your money. We will run a portfolio x-ray for you and educate you on exactly what's in your portfolio.
Set up a time to get your complimentary portfolio x-ray today. Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858. That's 404-737-3858, or book online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Giving you the truth, not the talking points. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
All right, I want to get one more soundbite in here before the top of the hour. I do know that the cloture vote took place. So Kash Patel is out of committee, out on the floor. No more debate, no more problem. Now it's going to be a straight up and down vote, majority to get him through. We'll have to wait and see. I believe that's scheduled for 1:45. But I want to show you one more senator who was out there early this morning with his fear porn, his pandering, his smearing, and just doing everything he can to try to convince people that Kash Patel would be a bad pick. This is Senator Whitehouse having his own little mini meltdown over Kash Patel.
Judiciary Committee what crimes it was that he was concerned about that caused him to plead the Fifth. Kash Patel, mark my words, will cause evil in this building behind us, and Republicans who vote for him will rue that day.
Now, what is he talking about? Oh, he pled the Fifth. Once again, isn't it amazing? We have this policy. This is a constitutional right. You don't have to incriminate yourself. You don't have to, in court, testify in any way, in any stretch that could in any way make you look bad. Doesn't mean you're guilty. It just means you have the protection of not being painted into a corner and forced to say something by a clever attorney by, quote, testifying against yourself. This has to go back with the J6 and all of what he did when Kash Patel was part of the Trump administration, Trump 45. As anybody would say, any good lawyer would tell you, hey, if it has nothing to do, if the questions are about you, you don't have to answer them. You don't have to, quote, incriminate yourself. Well, it's not incriminate. It's you don't have to testify against yourself. The other thing that Kash Patel was asked about during his committee hearings, and I watched all of them, and it was Cory Booker that apparently doesn't know the law. For a lawyer, he's pretty dumb. He said, why don't you just tell us what was in the testimony? And Kash Patel said, get that testimony released. I want everyone to read it. He said, why don't you just tell us what you said? He goes, look, we have hundreds and hundreds of hundreds of minutes worth of testimony in there, days of testimony. I can't tell you everything I said, and I don't want to reflect it incorrectly. Get the transcript. He goes, why can't you tell us? That whole back and forth. Well, Kash Patel couldn't tell because it's still under seal. Cory Booker was trying to get Kash Patel to do something illegal and at the same time try to make you think that he is doing something illegal by not revealing. That's what I thought was interesting about the Democrats, trying to catch him, and Kash Patel was way too smart.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or consumercellular.com today. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. Our top story is new this hour from Gwinnett County. A letter has been sent to parents of students at Harbins Elementary School saying that a student brought a gun to school. The elementary school student reportedly flashed the gun on the bus and then after getting off at the bus stop. The student is now facing the maximum disciplinary consequences. It is cold this afternoon, and it's not going to warm up either, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Sunny, breezy, afternoon highs 37. You factor in the wind, it's going to be even worse. We'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up in just over 2 minutes. We now know the names of those 3 children killed in an apartment fire in Atlanta yesterday afternoon. The Fulton County Medical Examiner identifying the 3 siblings as 4-year-old Jakari White, 1-year-old Zyla White, and 9-month-old Zalia White. They were all killed in Wednesday's fire on Fairburn Road in southwest Atlanta. The medical examiner will perform autopsies on the 3. There's no definitive cause of death. Gwinnett police releasing the name of the man shot to death outside of McDonald's on Sugarloaf Parkway. Police say 43-year-old Donald Stewart of Commerce got into an argument with his boss. Now 40-year-old Michael Todd of Houston facing murder charges. He was still on the scene when police arrived. The 2 did not work at the McDonald's where that shooting happened. A last round of public comments will precede a vote by the Fulton County School Board tonight to determine the fate of 2 schools.
Park Lane and Spalding Drive elementary schools are up for closure based on a recommendation by Superintendent Dr. Mike Looney. It has stirred passions with students and parents, but board member Lily Pazatek says they must consider the whole county's needs.
This will impact the entire county, north, south, east, west. So I want to make sure that we can support all of our students by giving them the very best educational opportunities.
The 2 schools' ages and attendance numbers are cited as reasons for closure. The public comments get underway at 6 tonight. The vote of the board will follow. A simple 4-3 majority required. Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience today for some students at Woodward Mill Elementary School in Gwinnett County. They got to talk to an astronaut aboard the International Space Station.
Do you feel any difference between being in space back on Earth over?
Yes, you do feel different when you come back to Earth. And it lasts for a day or 2, and then you are back to normal. Over.
Now, Woodward Mill Elementary School got the chance to talk to the astronauts because of their science fairs, robotics program, and awards. This is new at 1 o'clock. DeKalb County Police Chief Mirtha Ramos is stepping down. She was the department's first female and longest-serving police chief in over 20 years. Ramos was hired in 2019 by former CEO Michael Thurman, the county not giving a reason for her departure. It's 1:02.
When it's time to replace your windows, make sure you have options and get to choose the energy-efficient window that is right for your home, your style, and your budget. Dave Baker here for the only window company I recommend, Nelson Exteriors. With Nelson, you're in charge. Choose from many top-rated window manufacturers like Andersen and MI, all backed by Nelson's worry-free lifetime labor warranty. For your replacement windows, pick the company that's more picky than you. Google Nelson Exteriors.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
You can save big on 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or Canada Dry. Right now, select varieties are buy 2, get 2 free with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Are the effects of diabetes, prostate cancer, hypertension, or high cholesterol robbing you of your ability to perform in the bedroom? Choice Men's Health can help you eliminate ED and get your bedroom performance back in just 1 visit. Choice Men's Health offers breakthrough treatments for ED and performance issues in the bedroom to help you regain your confidence and give you back the intimacy with your partner. Call Choice Men's Health right now to make an appointment and find out how you can eliminate ED on the first visit. Popular name brand pills like Viagra and Cialis don't work for everyone and can have serious side effects. Choice Men's Health custom medications work immediately, even if you have a medical history or think you're too old to perform like you used to. Choice Men's Health can help you have a fulfilling sex life again. Call Choice Men's Health today at 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170. Once again, that's 404-400-1170.
JIC, Flat Face Seal, BSP, and DEN. If you know what these are, then listen up.
I'm Victoria Holloway. We can replicate hose assembly on site with Mobile Hydraulics of Georgia.
Call 770-HYD-HOSE or try our website, HYDHOSE.com.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Better news with that earlier crash. 285 northbound, the Interloop, Paces Ferry Road, exit 18. Now on the right shoulder, but still seeing some brake lights from Bolton Road. Those are starting to improve. Some kind of hang up 285 westbound, the outer loop just past Roswell Road, exit 25. DOT says debris in the left lane there. You're slow from Georgia 400. And still seeing some brake lights through downtown, starting 85 southbound, just below the 400 merge. You'll stay on and off those brakes as you make your way past North Avenue. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Mostly sunny this afternoon, breezy and cold. High 35. Wind chills remain in the 20s. Actual lows tonight in the upper teens. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high 46. Saturday, partly cloudy, morning low 25, afternoon high 52.
All right, you want a little bit of good news? According to Christina, temperatures will be rebounding by the end of the weekend, climbing into the 60s and 70s by early next week. Looking forward to that. Right now, though, it's 32 degrees in Tucker. Johns Creek has 31 degrees. It's 32 in Fairburn. Here in Midtown Atlanta, we have 32 degrees. We'll have more news at 1:30, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Today on The Eric Erickson Show, he's the winner of the Georgia Broadcasting Association Best On-Air Personality Award and a director, producer, and actor. Filling in for Eric today, Alan Sanders.
Hey, everyone, and welcome back to The Eric Erickson Show. Great to be here on behalf of Eric, taking some time, and love when I get a chance to get that call from the bullpen and be with all of you. I got to update that opening, get the script, because now two-time Best On-Air Personality, and just last year got the second time Best Show. So I kind of like that out of the Georgia Association of Broadcasters. Thanks for being here. The phone number is 877-97-ERIC, E-R-I-C-K. That's 877-973-7425. Well, we wrapped up the first hour, and if you missed it, you're going to have to go back and catch it on the cast, but we were talking about the fear porn that is about all the left has. And they're used to being able to get the media to repeat enough of the fear and fear-mongering and the wringing of the hands and the wailing and the gnashing of teeth to affect the voters. I don't know if you've been checking the polls of late. Donald Trump, even 4 weeks in, is still, at this point, polling higher than he did in the entire 4 years of his first presidency. Did y'all catch that? I'm sure Eric brought that to you last week. Those were the kind of polls that made Democrats cry to have to talk about. I don't know, I was watching CNN and I was watching Dana Bash, and it looked like someone had punched her and she was trying to go live on the air without crying. She's out there. Swing voters were recently polled, and the swing voters who had traditionally voted Democrat but were convinced to vote for Donald Trump were asked recently, were they happy? And yes, they are. They're really happy. Which means we here at CNN are miserable. I played that last week for my show. I mean, it's crazy. Frank Luntz is the guy who did the sit down. He's that guy with the beard, and he tries to talk like he's so reasonable. And he's like, yeah, so we brought these people in for a focus group. We put them down, and we always ask them questions. And we brought these swing voters, these people who had voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016 and then voted for Joe Biden and then decided, why not give Trump a try? And we brought them in, and we sat them down, and lo and behold, they're very happy. And he wasn't happy either. And across the board. And it was a mixed group of people. I mean, these were all Democrat voters. They were all Democrats, and they all were like, Yeah. You know what? And the one thing, the one negative, and my wife is in this camp. The one negative that came out of the focus groups was they still don't like the way he talks, but they like what he's getting done. That should be the other wake-up call that has me completely befuddled about why you don't have some Democrats within the House of Representatives, because, they're going to come up for the midterms. They know historically whoever wins the presidency historically lose members of their party when it comes to the midterms. They generally lose seats. They may not lose enough sometimes if they to swing the House or swing the Senate, but right now it's razor thin. You'd think that there'd be like 10 or 15 Democrats who would be like jumping on the whole Elon Musk Doge bandwagon. You'd think there'd be a whole lot of people out there saying, the polling even suggests that what Donald Trump's doing is popular. We keep picking the wrong side of these arguments. We keep picking the 20% side instead of the 80% side. 80% of the country likes what he's doing, 20% hates it, and we're siding with the 20%. That doesn't seem like a winning proposition to me. And yet that's where they are. And I keep coming back to the same thing. How bad does it have to be? How deep did that sewer go? How far did those tendrils reach that not a single Democrat, not a single one who knows they're getting ready to run for office this fall, folks, just keep in mind, it's every 2 years for the House of Representatives. This fall, they're going to start announcing and putting their campaigns together for next fall. So we're talking less than 9 months. We're going to start seeing people advertising, I'm going to be running for the House of Representatives. I'm going to bring change. Vote for me. You would think they'd be starting to build up some of that political capital right now, jumping on the popular moves of the day. So when they announce, that they're running again, hey, look at all the things I supported that you guys liked. I mean, you got Frank Luntz looking like he swallowed a bowling ball and is trying to figure out how I'm going to pass this later, talking about every one of these swing voters loves what Donald Trump's doing. May not like how he talks, may not like his tweeting or texting or whatever he's doing with Truth Social that gets cut and pasted now into X. But they like what he's getting done. My wife's in that camp. My wife's like, why can't he just shut up and keep doing what he's doing? I love what he's doing. I hate when he talks. I'm like, you know what? You're not going to change his speech patterns. You're not going to change how he just naturally knows how to troll people and usually puts them off their game. That's what you have to understand. Donald Trump is just, I don't know if he just is a master of reading the nonverbal body language. He looks and he can analyze and he can figure out what it is that's going to get under your skin. And as a negotiator, if he can put you off your game by using phrases or analogies or says things that in a way makes you forget about why you're in that negotiation, you start getting personal, you start having some problems processing what he's saying, he's going to win. And there may be a reason why he's always winning, because he's a gifted troller. Sorry, he knows how to troll. I'm going to give you an example. He was giving a speech yesterday. This may have been the day before yesterday at the F2 Institute. And I want to play the soundbite here where he's talking about some of the things they've discovered, what Doge has discovered. But pay attention to what he's doing. It's almost like, if you're a fan of like reality TV, like especially the American Idol or the cooking shows, the game shows where, you're rooting for somebody or you're trying to figure out, well, what's going to happen next. And you know how they always do that, right? They'll start talking very slow and they'll start kind of building up. And after this challenge, the judges, they found themselves, wondering, which way are we going to go? Are we going to go here? Are we going to go there? What are we going to do? What were they thinking? Well, you know what? We'll get to that right after this break. And they're like, oh, why didn't you tell me? And they keep you watching through the break. It's on purpose, right? It's to drag out the tension because you're now emotionally invested in well, who won? What are the judges going to say? I think Donald Trump is playing that game with the fraud and the abuse that they're discovering inside of the federal government. Let me play this soundbite, and I'll tell you what I mean. Listen to what he does in this 30-second soundbite.
And here are just a few examples of where your money was going before I came along. These are just some of the, just taken at random. Oh, there are much worse examples than this. I was just looking at them before the speech, and I can tell you they were much worse. And there are some that are horrible, but I don't want to really say them because they're very, very embarrassing to people. Very, very embarrassing. And they're really something, but you'll be seeing it and you will be reading about it.
Do you see what he did there? His premise is, let me just give you an example of some of the things we've already discovered. Let me give you an example of what DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency. Let me just give you an example. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, and this is just a little bit. I mean, there's a lot worse. Oh, it's so much worse. In fact, I don't even want to talk about how bad because it's going to embarrass people. What a brilliant troll move. Because now you've got everyone inside the Beltway that already knows, because they're fighting it tooth and nail, we can't let them get access to the Treasury. We can't let them get access to the IRS. We can't let them get access to Social Security. We can't let them figure out how to tie those three entities together to trace the money. You've got people sitting there going, what did he just say? He's got even worse things. You mean the thing we don't even know? I went to the DOGE website. I didn't see the program that I know I was involved with yet. And now he's telling me, oh, it's so much worse. I can't even talk about it. It's so bad. You'll hear about it in the coming days, but I can't even talk about it. It would embarrass people. I'm sorry. I know we all want the full transparency, and I love the fact that we are getting a much more transparent government, but there is something a little satisfying in the fact that the DOGE team and this little moment from Donald Trump, it's the drip, drip, drip of information, just enough to keep you hooked, just enough to keep you tuning in. What do you know? What's going to happen? And all of a sudden, he's like, I'm not going to say. It'll be all coming out soon, but let's just tell you, it's really bad. You want to talk about people inside the Beltway who are having a hard time maybe sleeping at night? Because you don't know what he knows yet. He's not letting on all that he knows. They're telling us some things. They're telling us a lot of things, by the way, that should have everybody in this, it doesn't matter, political ideology. Everyone should be angry over wasted tax money. Everybody in this audience. It shouldn't matter your political affiliation. To know that they purposely designed a treasury system that would allow you to send money to someone without putting in the field what it's for or what account it's linked to. Just imagine running your business that way. Imagine running a nonprofit that way and not going to jail. Hey, you're a nonprofit. We gave you millions of dollars to help the homeless. Can you tell us where all that money went? I'd sure like to, but we don't categorize where our payments go. Wait, what? Yeah, I mean, we sent out a lot of money. You just have to trust us it went to the right people. Well, how do we know? Oh, you just got to trust me. Okay, with millions of dollars. Sure. Maybe that explains why the Pentagon's failed 7 audits in a row. Nobody knows where the money went. And don't tell me that wasn't done by design. Maybe it was incompetence at some point in time. Maybe because, the public sector manages to figure out how to take a website that would cost maybe $5,000 or $10,000 to build and design, and they could figure a way to make it a multi-million-dollar project. Maybe someone actually didn't think about it when they first implemented this payment system. Hey, this field, you think we should click it to mandatory? Oh, nah, leave it off for now. If they need it mandatory, they can always turn it back on. Could have been just stupidity, incompetence. You went to the lowest bidder and they didn't know what they were doing. But you have to figure out along the way, you do have crafty people who work in government. You do have insidiously smart people in government. It doesn't mean everybody's in on it. All it takes is just a few people in the right place to go, they don't track where the money's going. They'll authorize the money. We can ask them to send the money. They won't question us. They won't ask us to fill out that field. Maybe we could just have it go to a different place. They're not going to ask me. Let's give it a try. Let's just see what happens. I can always say, oh, sorry, I got my projects mixed. And suddenly the money goes through. And they go, well, we didn't send a whole lot. We didn't want to get in trouble. We wanted to be able to plead ignorance, but it went through. Let's try it again. Hey, yeah, you know that payment we sent the other day to that account? We're going to have to send another $1 million. Do you mind doing that? Yeah, sure, go ahead. Just send me the routing number. We'll go ahead and just pump it right out. Because we here in Treasury don't know how to say no. We push everything through. Don't tell me there weren't a handful, and I say handful, it could be thousands. I mean, there's over 2 million people who work in the executive branch alone. 2.4 million, I think, people in the executive branch. Don't tell me that a handful of people hadn't figured out they don't trace where the money's going. I can set up, maybe my wife, maybe my son, maybe a friend can set up an NGO. I help them get in the system. We get them recognized as an account that the government now says is an approved vendor. And then I just say, oh, yeah, by the way, Congress just passed the new budget, and part of that was supposed to go into this big bucket of money. We've got a new NGO that's going to help with the environment. We need $2 billion to go to it. Okay. And they just send it. You don't believe me? Wait till I tell you about the Stacey Abrams Fund that just popped yesterday in the news. Yes, folks, it may not be everybody who's in on it. In fact, it's probably the majority not in on it. But there are enough people who knew the exposures in the system to use it for their advantage.
If you go to ericforhillsdale.com today, you can take 1 or 40. You can take, pick 1, 2, 3, 40 classes from Hillsdale College about subjects that are going to interest you, from Christianity and basic theology to the history of ancient Rome, to the rise of the American Republic, to the Constitution, to theology, chemistry, math. It's all available, and it is completely free. It's video lectures. You do multiple episodes depending on the class, how many episodes there are. Each lecture is about 30 minutes long. You go to ericforhillsdale.com. You're going to find a class that interests you, whether it is ancient Rome, whether it's about the military, whether it's about basic economics, or even chemistry, or the Constitution, or Genesis. Lots of great Old Testament, New Testament theology in there. You go to ericforhillsdale.com, ERICK. Fill out the form. You will not pay a penny. It's all from Hillsdale College. It's part of their plan to educate America. Eric, ERICK, ericforhillsdale.com.
You're at the intersection of politics, culture, and current events. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
121 Cool-Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Slow downtown, 75-85 northbound University Avenue up to where trouble's been in and out of a right lane, up around Peachtree, Pine Street, so be mindful of that. Earlier debris cleared in Sandy Springs, 285 westbound, the outer loop past Roswell Road, exit 25. Delays have gotten better out of Dunwoody. Traffic brought to you by Atlanta Motor Speedway. NASCAR returns to Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Ambetter Health 400, February 21st through 23rd. Get tickets now at atlantamotorspeedway.com. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
News.
Dozens of flights have already been canceled or delayed.
Weather.
3.5 inches of rain.
Traffic.
Multiple vehicles involved, including a tractor trailer.
Everything you need to know before you start your day.
Man wanted for murder in Atlanta.
Atlanta's morning news. Tomorrow starting at 5.
95.5 WSB. Atlanta's breaking news station.
The integrity this company has is amazing. They are just unbelievable, start to finish.
Meteorologist Glenn Burns loves his Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows from North Georgia Replacement Windows.
They made everything so easy. The planning, the installation was flawless, just a perfect job, and now it just made such a difference in the house.
Infinity from Marvin Replacement Windows, yeah!
Buying a car? Get pre-approved at Coosa Valley Credit Union for one of the lowest rates in the market, as low as 4.49%. Or save money by refinancing your existing auto loan. At Coosa Valley Credit Union, we're committed to offering our members the most competitive interest rates in the market. This is Andy Harris, President of Coosa Valley Credit Union, inviting you to stop in a branch near you. You'll experience kinder banking with real people, not automation. Plus, with 11 locations, we're always local and nearby in Northwest Georgia.
Equal opportunity lender. The following is a paid commercial announcement.
Governor Kemp is protecting consumers from high costs and standing with small businesses.
A failure to act on meaningful tort reform will continue to put Georgians and their livelihoods in serious jeopardy.
Georgians are paying a hidden tax because of a broken system, over $5,000 a year. Car insurance, health care, everything costs more. Call Senator Strickland at 404-656-0508. Tell him to stand with Governor Kemp and pass tort reform. Paid for by protecting American consumers together.
Home improvement projects can be a stressful guessing game. Trust the Plus. Painting Plus. The highest level of communication. The Plus means siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and of course, painting.
Hi, I'm Charlie, owner of Painting Plus and the Plus family of businesses. We'll make you comfortable and keep you informed with every step of your project.
If your home's exterior has it, the Plus can improve it. Painting Plus. Siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and more. Trust the Plus. PaintingPlus.com.
February is Heart Health Month, and there's no better time to take care of your heart. This is Scott Slade. It's the perfect month to call Virtual Imaging and get your free heart scan to help you stay ahead of heart disease before you even know there's a problem. You've been hearing us talk about how Virtual Imaging's free heart scan can save lives. Heart disease is the leading cause of death in the United States, and any problem with your heart that you can detect early means you have a better chance of living a longer life. Call Virtual Imaging today and get your free heart scan. What are you waiting for? Call 770-678-SCAN. It's quick, painless, and you'll get a clear picture of your heart's health so you know where you stand. And it's a great way to mark Heart Health Month. Don't wait until it's too late. Call Virtual Imaging now and schedule your free heart scan with a few minimum requirements. It's quick, easy, and could save your life. I've done it. Call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Because your heart deserves it. If not for yourself, do it for your family.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit ConsumerCellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or ConsumerCellular.com today. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
And this stuff matters.
ThisStuffMatters.net.
You can be live on Eric's show by calling 877-97-ERIC. That's 877-973-7425.
And feel free to give us a call if you've got questions or you want to add to it. But yes, before we hit to the bottom of the hour, this story broke yesterday. Doge finds $2 billion, with a B, $2 billion in taxpayer funds earmarked for a Stacey Abrams-linked group. For those of you who don't remember, Stacey Abrams is the president of the planet. Remember in Star Trek, or whatever that series, they brought her on as she was running. Was it for governor of Georgia at the time, or whatever she was running for at the time? Remember, she still thinks she beat the Governor Kemp in Georgia at one point in time. I remember when it was okay to be an election denier until it was no longer cool to be an election denier. I guess it has something to do with whether you have a D or an R by your name. But yeah, apparently Doge found $2 billion earmarked into a fund. And you're like, well, I mean, it's got to be legitimate just because it's linked to Stacey Abrams. I mean, come on. What do you mean there's something wrong here? Oh, okay, well, let's do this. The Biden EPA, this was the Environmental Protection Agency, awarded the grant even though the group, the particular fund that was created, only reported $100 in revenue in its first months of operation. Lee Zeldin, the new head of the EPA, called it extremely concerning. Yeah, I think I would call that, I think that might be an understatement. Extremely concerning that an organization that reported only $100 in revenue, this was in 2023, could create a legitimate business case hey, Biden administration and the EPA specifically, hey guys, we've got this group and we raised a whole $100, but we can't do a whole lot with that. Can you send $2 billion our way and trust us with our mission? Sure, we're heading out the door anyway. Donald Trump's coming in. We can't leave all this money for him to have. Let's just send it out without even thinking. $2 billion just in that. The Free Beacon did a story on this. This was written by Thomas Cantanacci. Says that, here we go, Doge discovered the $2 billion in taxpayer funds that had been set aside for a fledgling nonprofit linked to the perennial Georgia Democrat candidate Stacey Abrams. The Environmental Protection Agency under the Biden regime awarded Power Forward Communities the grant in April of 2024 as part of the agency's Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund program. Power Forward Communities received the green energy grant despite the fact it was founded months earlier in 2023 with no more than $100 in reported revenue. No, there's no fraud, waste, and abuse to see here at all. Why let Doge keep doing this?
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. Gwinnett County, a letter has been sent to parents of students at Harbins Elementary School saying that a student brought a gun to school. The elementary school student reportedly flashing that gun on the bus, and then after getting off at the bus stop, the student now facing the maximum disciplinary consequences. The Fulton County Medical Examiner has identified the 3 siblings killed in an Atlanta apartment fire: 4-year-old Jakari White, 1-year-old Zyla White, and 9-month-old Zalia White. They were killed Wednesday in that fire on Fairburn Road in southwest Atlanta. The medical examiner will be performing autopsies on the 3 children. There is no definitive cause of death just yet. He turned 83 today and announced that he will not seek re-election. GOP Senator Mitch McConnell of Kentucky making the announcement on the Senate floor.
I've never lost sight of the fact that without my mother's devoted care, a childhood encounter with polio could have turned out a lot worse.
Now, McConnell was first elected to the Senate back in 1984. The Senate is set to vote on whether or not Kash Patel should become the next FBI director. Senator Adam Schiff says Patel cannot do the job and won't protect the public.
He will misuse the resources of the Bureau. He will weaponize it against the president's political opponents rather than protecting the safety, the public safety of the American people.
While some Democrats are concerned about Patel's qualifications and his potential loyalty to President Trump, he received a recommendation from the Senate Judiciary Committee in a narrow 12-10 party line vote last week. Most expect Patel will be confirmed unless more than 3 Republican senators oppose him. The Senate Judiciary Committee calling Patel the right man at the right time, that according to the Senate Judiciary Chairman. And most Americans are worried about the Department of Government Efficiency's cuts impacting programs like student financial aid and Social Security payments. In a new Reuters Ipsos poll, 58% of Americans said that they're worried about delays to those payments. President Trump naming tech billionaire Elon Musk to head the agency, but the White House noted earlier this week that he's technically not part of the group. A court filing shows that Musk is considered an employee of the White House office. It's 1:32.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
Coming up from the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra, a Delta classical concert featuring music director laureate Robert Spano, conducting Copland's evocative Appalachian Spring, capturing the American wilderness, and Vaughan Williams' melodic and serene Fifth Symphony. Also on the program, ASO principal harpist Elizabeth Remy Johnson performs the Grammy Award-winning concerto by Atlanta school composer Jennifer Higdon, March 20th and 22nd at Symphony Hall. Details at aso.org.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather, Alex Williams.
Better news, crash 7585 northbound up at Peachtree Pine Street. Exit 249 is cleared. Still on the brakes from University Avenue, but that will get better. And construction continues. I-20 eastbound, collect your distributor ramp before Wesley Chapel in DeKalb. That's in the left lane. The right lane of the through lanes in the same area of 20 eastbound also blocked for that construction. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunny skies through this afternoon, staying cold. High 35, wind chills in the 20s.
More news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Listening, because we got another half to go. 877-97-ERIC, E-R-I-C-K. That's 877-973-7425. You know, some of the criticisms maybe of, people like me doing shows like this is like, you're just pointing out so many bad things. It's just always bad. Like, well, first of all, I'm just trying to point out the truth, trying to point out what you probably didn't hear from legacy mainstream media sources, certainly not giving you the full story. You might have caught an inkling somewhere, and then they usually will spin it to a particular outcome that they want. But you're right. We should have some good stories as well. Now, hey, don't get me wrong. The idea that Doge is catching these people, making them freak out, having them maybe have sleepless nights. Did you hear you can track what Google search terms are being used daily, and you can kind of isolate it by regions. And someone a few weeks ago, I'm sure this has been out everywhere. You've heard this, but if not, if the first time you're hearing this, someone decided, hey, just curious, now that all of this, quote, fraud or potential fraud is coming to light, we haven't named names yet. We don't know anybody who authorized the monies. We don't know who may have received the monies. Maybe that's why they're still taking their time. There's a lot of data to sift through. But all of a sudden, folks, isn't it ironic? You can say, okay, who's Googling a certain term, and where are we seeing a spike? Do you realize in the whole of the United States of America, you look at every part within the contiguous 48 states. You say, who's searching for criminal defense attorney? You think somebody's looking for a lawyer. People are always looking for a lawyer. You might find yourself in trouble. Maybe you reneged on a contract. Maybe you got a DUI. Maybe something like that. You're looking for a good criminal defense attorney. In the last 2+ weeks, it started off only 4 times higher. Now it's almost 5 times higher than anywhere else in the country. Inside the Beltway, Washington, D.C., that is one of the most searched terms, 5 times higher than anywhere else in the country. There are some people out there going, okay, they haven't named names yet, but I need to know, what's my exposure? What can I do? How do I mitigate? Should I cut a deal? Should I become a whistleblower? Should I look for immunity? Should I say, if I turn in names, will you help me? Who knows? I think it's another reason why Donald Trump and Doge isn't naming names. They want them to live in such panic, because it's like when I was a kid. My mom wasn't necessarily the physical disciplinarian. It was my dad's job. If my brother and I were acting up, and hey, I lived in a different time, I'm Gen Xer, we got spanked when we were bad. And it made us learn either be better about getting away with things or don't get away with them to begin with, and you don't have to worry about being spanked. Being boys, we really never learned that lesson. We apparently liked our nightly punishment, but it wasn't nightly. But nothing was worse As a child, even, nothing was worse than having pushed my mom too far and her saying, "That's it. Go to your rooms. When your dad comes home, he's going to beat you both." Like, wait, what? Yep. Go to your rooms and just wait for your dad to come home. And I'm like, but that's not going to be for like 4 hours. I have to think about this for the next 4 hours? That was terrible. I was like, can't you just spank me now? And I can say, I'm sorry. Nope. Go to your room. Just wait till your father comes home. And then there's that little moment, like, you're sort of like you're being kept in captivity. And there's that moment you hear the garage door open and you're saying to yourself, maybe mom will forget. Maybe I will have dodged this. Maybe because I stayed in my room, I didn't get her mad the rest of the day. Maybe she forgot. And then all of a sudden you hear from upstairs, you need to go down there and beat your children. And my brothers and I we'd start crying. We'd like, oh no, we heard him. We heard him coming down the steps. Our bedroom, when we got a little older, we had a ranch styled home in Michigan, where I grew up. And so when my other brothers came along, they had to finish the basement and create a bedroom downstairs for me and my other brother. And so we could hear him coming down the steps. And if you've ever heard the sound of a belt being pulled through belt loops, when you kind of go, when it's coming out real fast, oh yeah, the wailing started. I hadn't even, it didn't matter. Just the sheer panic of waiting for that moment and realizing here it comes. I'm going to guess that amplify that 100 times. That's what a lot of people inside the Beltway are feeling right now. They're going, okay, we just got told mom has had it. Dad's going to come get us, but he's not here yet. And we don't know if we're the ones that are going to get spanked. Maybe it's the other brother or maybe the other sibling that's going to get spanked. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. I got a good story, though. All of that to say, I've got a good story. We know Donald Trump, the Doge team, Donald Trump giving, authority to Elon Musk and his crew to give access to the Social Security systems, the SSA. We know 3 days ago, I think, just over the weekend, the head of the Social Security Administration resigned, said, no, I'm not giving you access. I'd rather quit. There's a little dramatic moment I want to share with you. See, there was a guy who worked for that woman, and the guy's name was Leland Dudek, D-U-D-E-K. Leland Dudek was basically the next underneath, kind of a deputy administrator within the Social Security Administration. And he wanted to help find the fraud. See, he was well aware that there's a lot of fraud going on through the SSA, that the systems were old, archaic, not kept up to speed. He knew there were people in there that probably shouldn't receive payments. He was very well aware, but nobody was doing anything about it. Begs the question, there's fraud, there's abuse, the system's being misused. Why don't you do anything about it? Maybe there's a reason for that. People are taking advantage. So this guy gets called into his boss's office and says, what's going on? I'm all of a sudden hearing that Elon Musk is accessing our systems. How's that possible? And he said, I was helping them. The president sent them to come get access to the data to try to figure out where they could find fraud, waste, and abuse. And since that's kind of my job, I wanted to make sure that they accessed it properly. I helped them. I showed them, how to get the system, to get what they were looking for. He's some low-level guy working underneath in the administration who thought he was doing the right thing. And so this woman was very angry that they were helping Doge, helping Elon Musk, and more importantly, helping the president of the United States try to find fraud, waste, and abuse within the Social Security Administration. She put Leland on leave, told him, you're fired, you're out of here. Wait a minute, I thought we looked down on people being fired from government, but I guess if you're cooperating with the president, that's a fireable offense. If you're sitting at home doing nothing and collecting a paycheck, or you're in a probationary period and you get fired, well, that's a capital crime, and it's the president's fault. Guy says, at 4:30 p.m., my boss called to tell me I'd been placed on administrative leave, quote, pending an investigation. They want to fire me for cooperating with Doge. Well, here's why this is a good story. And I actually shared this story, and I'll give you a little spoiler. When I shared this story on X, I said, patriotism pays off. I wanted people to read the story. I wanted them to go, wait, what does that mean? Patriotism pays off. In a stunning reversal, folks, it was acting Social Security Commissioner Michelle King who found herself out of a job, and Dudek was reinstated, and the president basically said, how would you like to be in charge of the Social Security Administration? How would you like to have your boss's job? Your boss put you on leave pending an investigation for doing what we asked. Help us navigate the system because we're trying to find inefficiencies. We're trying to find fraud, waste, and abuse. You know how the system works. We want to make sure that we access it properly to get to the data that we need. You helped us, and somehow that was a fireable offense, worthy of an investigation. Michelle King, the acting Social Security Commissioner, who threatened him, told him, you're going to be investigated, she's out of a job, and he's taking her place. The WAPO, obviously not a right-wing rag, the Washington Post reported that King exited the agency after refusing to let DOJ access agency data and then was replaced by Dudek. But it has not been reported that managers at the agency had moved to punish Dudek because he was the one who cooperated with the efficiency czars. That's amazing, isn't it? He says, quote, in his story, he put this on LinkedIn. He said, I confess I helped DOJ understand SSA. I mailed myself publicly accessible documents and explained them to DOJ. I confess I moved contractor money around to add data science resources to my anti-fraud team. I confess I asked where the fat was and is in our contracts so we can make the right tough choices. I confess I bullied agency executives, shared executive contact information, and circumvented the chain of command to connect DOJ with the people who get stuff done. Everything I have ever done is in service to our country, our beneficiaries, and our agency. That was what he posted on LinkedIn. I confess, I helped. I wanted to find the fraud. I wanted to find the waste. I wanted to find the abuse. I defied orders and helped. I helped the team that the president has assigned to this task. Now, the Social Security Administration and the White House did not return requests for comment from the Daily Wire, but a Social Security employee speaking on condition of anonymity told the Daily Wire that the person who put Dudek on leave was a woman by the name of Gina Clemens, Deputy Commissioner for Analytics, Review, and Oversight, and technically, she's still in that job. Dudek, a career civil servant, is an example of how there are a few fiscally conscious longtime government employees and how the Trump administration and DOJ can maximize their impact by joining forces with people who know where the bodies are buried. That's a good feel-good story, isn't it? A career civil servant who's just caught up in the machine, trying to do what's right, believing his job is to find fraud, waste, and abuse, and generally thwarted at every turn, is finally inspired because this team is actually finding the fraud, the waste, and the abuse. He knows the system. He knows where the bodies are buried, as the story says. And here comes the president of the United States with a team of analytics people, AI-driven data people, who are going to be able to start finding so much fraud, waste, and abuse. Why wouldn't you? If you believe that's your job, you thought that's what you were hired to do, even though you're being thwarted every step of the way, why wouldn't you jump at this opportunity? And then that gut-wrenching moment, you get the memo, you're going to be fired. We're opening an investigation. And you think, what have I done? Oh my gosh, I thought I was doing the right thing. And then you come to find out that the president himself, hey, you did a good thing. You know what? I appreciate that. You're trying to help us find the fraud, the waste, and the abuse. You know what? How would you like to be the acting commissioner of the Social Security Administration? Almost fired for working with DOJ. The Social Security fraud expert now gets to, at least for now, lead the agency. I find that to be a great feel-good story. That's an example of, see, do the right thing. have a sense of conscience, have a sense of ethics, have a sense of what it is to work as a civil servant. Too many of these folks think, once I'm in, I'm supposed to be in for life. I should get paid for life. I don't actually have to do anything. I don't have to be productive. I don't have to actually show any efficiency. Once I'm in, I can collect a paycheck forever. Well, a lot of people are waking up to the notion it's not how it's going to work in this new administration. It should have never been allowed to permeate as long as it has. And a lot of people, the reason? I'll tease this. I know why so many people are screaming bloody murder about DOJ having access to the IRS system. I know why. Because you're like, why do you need access to IRS? Well, it's an agency that collects a lot of money from people. Maybe there's some abuse happening in there. Maybe they're going after people just for political reasons. You might say, well, but is that really going to save America a lot of money? I mean, is that really where you want to investigate? I think I have an answer for that, at least the way I look at it. If I'm going to look at the various payment systems, whether it's money in or money out, I want to know where it's all going. You got to look at all pieces of the equation, money coming in, money going out, and who is getting what. That's the part we still don't have names. I think I know why they want to look at IRS data. But you're going to have to stick around. We'll be back with more of the Erick Erickson Show.
Between bank collapses, with hundreds more teetering on the brink, and regulators fighting an unwinnable war, interest rate cuts may be coming. We don't know. Swiss America's been the trusted leader in precious metals for 40 years. They've been warning people about a secret war on cash for some time. If you're interested in safeguarding your hard-earned cash from the secret war on cash, you need their free report. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. Swiss America can educate you on protecting your assets in their report. The Secret War on Cash takes less than 15 minutes to read. All you have to do to get a free copy is call or text 800-289-2646. The All-Out War on Cash includes digital forms of currency as well. Just text my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 800-289-2646. Get the Secret War on Cash report completely for free. Just text Eric to 800-289-2646 or go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric. The number one more time, 800-289-2646. Text my name. Message data rates may apply.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
151 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Dealing with some kind of trouble. Looks like a crash. Hopefully clearing off to the right. 285 northbound, the inner loop, South Cobb Drive, exit 15. You're slow as you leave I-20 over there on the west side. If you're traveling I-20 eastbound into Cobb County, they're wrapping up the road work that's been in the left lane of the collector distributor ramp between 285 and Wesley Chapel, as well as the right lane clearing on I-20 eastbound itself there. Traffic brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Awaken your taste buds during their Fire Up Asia event at Whole Foods Market with deals on produce, marinated proteins, snacks, and more through February 25th. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
The morning rush hour, the evening rush hour, and everything in between.
All lanes being held. 575 north at Highway 92, exit 7. Rolling.
Tune in 24/7 with the Triple Team Traffic Center.
Officials diverting you onto Mansell Road.
Your source for Atlanta's traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
The biggest factor, I think, in choosing a company is their integrity. Are they going to warranty their work and stand behind their work?
Meteorologist Glenn Burns loves his Infinity from Marvin Fiberglass Windows from North Georgia Replacement Windows.
The product, of course, has to be good, but the folks standing behind that product have to be even better. This is the company that has the best products, the best service, the best installation.
Infinity from Marvin Replacement Windows, yeah!
February is Heart Health Month, and there's no better time to take care of your heart. This is Scott Slade. It's the perfect month to call Virtual Imaging and get your free heart scan to help you stay ahead of heart disease before you even know there's a problem. You've been hearing us talk about how Virtual Imaging's free heart scan can save lives. Heart disease is the leading cause of death in the United States, and any problem with your heart that you can detect early means you have a better chance of living a longer life. Call Virtual Imaging today and get your free heart scan. What are you waiting for? Call 770-678-SCAN. It's quick, painless, and you'll get a clear picture of your heart's health so you know where you stand. And it's a great way to mark Heart Health Month. Don't wait until it's too late. Call Virtual Imaging now and schedule your free heart scan with a few minimum requirements. It's quick, easy, and could save your life. I've done it. Call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Because your heart deserves it. If not for yourself, do it for your family.
Sell your home with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate and receive the strongest cash offer in the industry. You'll save time and make the most money. Hi, it's Chris Chandler. With the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, you can skip the hassle of getting your home ready to sell, receive an all-cash offer, and close in as little as 21 days. You can trust my friends at Mark Spain Real Estate to sell your home fast and for maximum profit. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
Governor Kemp is protecting consumers from high costs and standing with small businesses.
A failure to act on meaningful tort reform will continue to put Georgians and their livelihoods in serious jeopardy.
Georgians are paying a hidden tax because of a broken system, over $5,000 a year. Car insurance, health care, everything costs more. Call Senator Strickland at 404-656-0508. Tell him to stand with Governor Kemp and pass tort reform. Paid for by protecting American consumers together.
Winter is Atlanta's rainy season with nearly 14 inches of rainfall on average, and all that rain may be leaking into your basement. Christina Edwards here. If you notice cracks in your concrete wall or wet spots on the ground, my guys at American Crawl Space Solutions can diagnose and repair the problem. And they won't pressure you to make your decision on the spot like many other companies. AmericanCrawlSpaceSolutions.com, your best value for wet basement repair.
American Crawl Space Solutions. Foundations too.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
The information without the spin. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
So why does Doge need access to the IRS? I mean, obviously, it's the main engine for collecting money. It's the agency that lawmakers know that they can use and abuse to punish companies, punish us. I mean, let's face it, the IRS is set up in a way that punishes success. You've made too much money. We want more of it. Ooh, money making bad. Oh, the poor people who are barely living paycheck to paycheck. We don't want any of your money. We only want it from the bad, successful people. I mean, it's just it's a ludicrous system the way it was set up to begin with. And we can thank the early 20th century for that, because up until the formation of the Internal Revenue Service, imagine having to write a check every month for your taxes and send it in. How many of you out there even know how much you're paying out of every paycheck? You don't even pay attention. You don't even think about it anymore. And because everything goes electronic, it just goes into your account. You don't even look at your stubs anymore. Why does Doge need access to the IRS? Well, if we're going to talk about fraud... If we're going to talk about fraud now, fraud is when you know you are taking money in an illegal mean. You're taking it from means that are not legal. When you're a public sector employee, when you work for the federal government, you're being paid by taxpayer revenue. The money that taxpayers have collected, have confiscated from the IRS, pays your salary. So you are a public servant. How many of you in the public sector call yourself that as a badge of honor? I'm a public servant. I'm only here to serve the public. Okay. Well, there's a little thing in your contract you should be aware of. See, you're making money off of taxpayers. So if you were to, let's say, be reclassified as work from home, and you realize, now that I'm at home, I never really have to do a whole lot except maybe attend a weekly meeting. And no one ever asks me to do anything anymore because everyone's working from home. And I decided, I've got all this downtime. I've always wanted to get into real estate. I've always wanted to get into maybe doing a little side gig. Next thing you know, you've got a second job. You're actually going out there and making a decent income on a second job. Now, normally that's not a big deal if you're doing it on your own time, right? There's nothing wrong with having a side gig. Everyone needs a side hustle if you're working nights, if you're working weekends. But if you're a public sector employee, you're being paid from money confiscated from taxpayers to fund your salary to accomplish a job. And if you're not doing your job and instead you're collecting a paycheck while you're doing some other job, well, that's wrong. That's fraudulent. You should not, at the very least, you should be fired. Now that Doge has access to IRS, it's going to be very easy to say, we know when you started working here. and we know your public salary because you're part of the public sector. We know how much you should have been taking in and claiming on your taxes. And if we discover that you're making 2, 3, 4 times as much, we may have some questions for you about what you were doing when you were working from home.
Belinda here for Atlanta Vision Institute. I'm here to introduce you to a new procedure that Dr. Ashraf is performing called laser optics. This changed my life, folks. I was so tired of wearing contacts and glasses. The glasses were not around when I needed them. I had astigmatism, so the contacts didn't fit me well, and I had beginning stages of cataracts. So I went in. I was a great candidate for laser optics. It was a quick, painless procedure. The next day, it was like everything was in HD. The colors were more vibrant. The leaves were more vibrant. The sky was more vibrant. My husband was better looking. Everything was great. Laser optics with Dr. Ashraf, Atlanta Vision Institute. Go to the website 2020atlanta.com to find out more information. Also, take the quiz to see if this is a procedure that's good for you. Your medical insurance may cover it. That's 2020atlanta.com.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. See something, say something. Works at a Gwinnett County elementary school after a student brings a gun on a bus.
A letter was sent to parents at Harbins Elementary School on Wednesday, alerting them that several students reported seeing a classmate display a weapon on a school bus. Principal Jimmy Lovett's letter to parents went on to say that out of an abundance for caution, additional school resource officers will be present at school and at the bus stop where students were shown the weapon. Information about the student who brought the gun on board hasn't been released, but the principal says that student will face maximum disciplinary action. Daphne Young, 95.5 WSB.
A cold 33 degrees in Atlanta with wind after a freezing start tomorrow. How much of a warm-up? Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. It is decision time for 2 Fulton County schools. Park Lane Elementary in East Point and Spalding Drive Elementary in Sandy Springs could close at the end of the current school year if the school board follows the superintendent's recommendation. Board member Lily Pozatek is considering her options.
We're entering a new era in Fulton County, an era that this school system hasn't seen since the 80s. We're projecting too many open seats in newer buildings, but not enough students to fill them if we do nothing.
Public comment started at 6 tonight. At the South Learning Center in Union City, followed by the vote. The Fulton County Medical Examiner identifies the 3 siblings killed in an Atlanta apartment fire. 4-year-old Jakari White, 1-year-old Zyla White, and 9-month-old Zalia White were killed in Wednesday's fire on Fairburn Road in southwest Atlanta. The medical examiner will perform autopsies on the 3 kids. There is no definitive cause of death so far. DeKalb County Police Chief Mirtha Ramos is reportedly stepping down, although other reports say she's been placed on administrative leave. She was the department's first female and longest serving police chief in over 20 years. Ramos was hired in 2019 by former CEO Michael Thurman. The county is not giving a reason for her departure. A once-in-a-lifetime experience at a Metro Atlanta school. Woodward Mill Elementary students get the chance to talk to an astronaut aboard the International Space Station and ask questions.
Hi, this is Joshua. Have you ever done a spacewalk? And if so, what was it like? Over?
I have done 2 spacewalks. Going outside your spacecraft is amazing, particularly the views through your helmet visor. Over.
Woodward Mill was picked because of their science fairs, robotics program, and awards. It is 2:02. This news sponsored by Bread Beckers.
If your home shows any sign of foundation issues like cracking exteriors, bowed walls, or sticking windows, your house may have a foundation problem. AquaGuard Foundation Solutions is here to help you. Schedule your free inspection at aquaguard.net now. Foundation issues? Remember, AquaGuard.
At Coosa Valley Credit Union, we're committed to offering our members the most competitive interest rates in the market. Now, auto loan rates are as low as 4.49%. This is Andy Harris, President of Coosa Valley Credit Union, inviting you to come see us at a branch near you.
Equal Opportunity Lender.
Welcome to Take 5 Oil Change.
Thanks. Got my seat cushion, crossword puzzle, and can't forget the hand sanitizer. Okay, show me the waiting room.
No need for all that. You can stay in your car.
I'll stay in my car. Get out.
Yep, you stay in. It'll just be 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Get out.
Go ahead, sit back and relax.
Well, I guess I'll save all this for the DMV. If only they took 10 minutes, am I right? I'm sorry.
Take 5. The stay in your car 10-minute oil change.
It starts as a nuisance and you just put up with it, but then that awful joint pain impacts everything in your life. Walking, climbing stairs, even getting in and out of the car hurts. Hey, it's Mark Arum. Talking about that always there joint pain in your knee, hip, shoulder, and back. But there's good news. QC Kinetics. Groundbreaking treatments for arthritis pain. Long-term relief now possible. At QC Kinetics, their regenerative treatments are sweeping the nation. Tens of thousands of QC Kinetic patients would tell you, don't wait, make the call today. Talk to the local medical pros. These new orthobiologic cellular therapies, including PRP treatments, can revitalize your joints without going under the knife. Look, joint pain does not get better with time, so before it's absolutely debilitating, see if you're a candidate for these life-changing regenerative treatments. Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation, 770-285-8026. That's 770-285-8026, 770-285-8026.
Looking to get organized in style? The brand new Artisan Custom Closets showroom is now open near Trilip Studios in Fayetteville. Step inside and explore stunning closet designs, stylish finishes, and smart storage solutions, all crafted with superior quality. From closets to garages, pantries, mudrooms, and home offices, we create spaces that work for you. Come see, touch, and experience the Artisan difference. Meet with a designer for your free consultation and start your custom project today. Artisan Custom Closets, now open near Trilip Studios in Fayetteville.
At 2:05, live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the 24-hour traffic center.
Looks like we've had that rolling pothole repair continue on the west side. Now 285 northbound the inner loop. They just made their way past South Cobb Drive, exit 15. So you're on and off the brakes from Hollowell Parkway. Construction wrapped up into cab on I-20 eastbound, both the collector and distributor ramp, and I-20 eastbound itself before Wesley Chapel. And some blue flashing lights clearing with some trouble in Cobb County, 75 southbound Windy Hill Road, exit number 260. So on and off the brakes through Marietta, heading down to Truist Park. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Mostly sunny this afternoon, breezy and cold. High 35. Wind chills remain in the 20s. Actual lows tonight in the upper teens. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high 46. Saturday, partly cloudy, morning low 25, afternoon high 52.
33 degrees in Midtown Atlanta. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Today on the Eric Erickson Show, he's the winner of the Georgia Broadcasting Association Best On-Air Personality Award and a director, producer, and actor. Filling in for Eric today, Alan Sanders.
Hello, America. Thank you for tuning in to the Eric Erickson Show. Nationally heard across these wonderful 48 and maybe, I don't know, is it in Alaska? I think we're in Alaska, so we're in all 50 states. At least the internet allows you to get it worldwide. So, I mean, why aren't you listening to the Eric Erickson Show? He's out today. I'm in. I'm Alan Sanders. Thanks for putting up with me. And if you like what you're hearing, I mean, of course, we could always use more friends and followers in social media. You can find me on all the socials, but I'm most active on X. So you can just start following me now. And who knows, you might be able to tell what my next show prep's going to be for the next show I do. Just follow The Alan Sanders Show. It's ALAN. And would love to have you as a follower. I do try to engage with my listeners. I'll tell you, I've got a rule of 3, though. And a good tip for all of you out there that find yourself in these debates. We'll call them debates because that makes them sound better than arguments. And even then, I always talk about when you make an argument, you're trying to say, here is the logical thing I'm trying to convince you of. What most people end up doing is bicker or yell. That's not really productive. But let me give you the rule of 3. You should always feel free to engage with someone, especially if you think that they're actually asking a question or they really are. Like, do you really believe that the IRS system is a good thing to have Doge have access to? To which I can say, well, yeah, because of the reason I just gave at the last hour. If you missed it, you're going to have to go back and listen. Yes, I do think that there are legitimate reasons Well, but Elon Musk, I mean, was he really elected to do that? No, but the president of the United States was elected, and the president has, as part of his executive power, the ability to appoint people. It's his job to be the chief executive officer of the country. I mean, that's his job. You know, our members in the legislative branch are our elected representatives. Let's remember that. The representatives are supposed to come back home from time to time and say, hey, folks, I don't think I should let Doge have access to all these systems, but I represent you. What do you guys all think? And what an ethical, upstanding, and probably statesman-like politician would do is if they said, hey, I don't think Elon Musk should have access to these tools, but my constituents overwhelmingly want him to have access, so I'm going to allow it. See, that's what your representative is supposed to do. We elect people to represent us. They're supposed to reflect our will, folks. Maybe a lot of you don't know that. In fact, I do blame our institutions of higher indoctrination and grooming that a lot of you don't even understand how our constitutional republic works. A lot of you don't even know it's a constitutional republic. We have an entire branch of government that we, the people, pick representatives, House and Senate. We have a bicameral legislature. That means two houses, two halves, bicameral, bi. We have a House of Representatives, and we have a Senate. We elect two senators to represent the entirety of the state, and we, based on geographic population and density, we carve out districts of about 700,000 people, and we have to find somebody who can go to Washington, D.C. from our district who's supposed to represent us. Now, that's going to be tough when the issues are 50-50. You know, your representative comes home, holds a town hall meeting, and says, what do you think about this tax? And half the people are like, yes, we need this tax. We want to build this bridge to nowhere. And the other half are like, no, we're taxed enough already. That's tougher. If it's a 50-50 split, he's got to try to, or she has to figure out, well, how do I best represent the will of the people? But what happens when you go back home, as you're supposed to do, and you hold a town hall? You hold some surveys. You kind of send some of your staff out to make some random calls, do some emails, and you say, hey, what about this tax? And 75% of your respondents say, absolutely not. No, we're taxed enough already. 25% want it. Well, if you're doing your job, if you are truly a representative of the people, you don't vote for that tax. You might, in your heart of hearts, you might want it with every fiber of your being. You might believe this is what's best for the people. Well, we didn't elect you to rule. We didn't elect you to think for us. We elected you as our representative from the community to go to Washington and say, well, here's what my people are saying. Here's what my constituents want. That's what you're supposed to do. Unfortunately, far too many think, hey, I won the election. I get to do what I want. And that's a problem. That is a serious problem. We need to pick better representatives. We need to pick better senators and members of the House. If you are catching that any of your representatives are saying things like, well, I know what's best, well, then you're not cut out to be a representative. I didn't send you to be my mommy and daddy. I didn't send you to try to make a decision for me. I sent you to represent me. And how many of you in this audience even understand that that's what they're supposed to do? That's what they're called to do. We, as people, have representatives who are supposed to reflect the will of the people. The presidency is different. The president is elected as the chief executive officer of the United States of America. We elect through the process the person we think has the right vision to carry our country forward. We expect them to make decisions. We expect them to do what they feel is right for America. And we have elected representatives that we send to make sure the president understands the will of the people. So that's the check and balance. We want someone who's going to be able to be decisive and strategic and have leadership. That's who the president is. They don't have to reflect the will of the people. You might decide, hey, we should nuke China now. And 90% of the country should say, why aren't we nuking China? That's why we have a chief executive. Someone who goes, yeah, I've seen the war games models. There is no scenario where we walk out winning. Okay, so no, I don't care how misguided you are or how emotionally ginned up you are. It makes no sense to, quote, nuke China. That's why we have a chief executive. They have to make the tough decisions. And sometimes it will run contrary to what feels like the will of the people. That's why you have to pick good representatives, because then the chief executive will be having conversations with Congress because they pass the budgets. And so Congress has to reflect the will of the people. That keeps the president from becoming a monarch. They have to hold the president in check. By the way, folks, brilliant document. If you've never read the Constitution, the number of knuckleheads, and I'm seeing more and more in legacy mainstream media, that have zero clue on what our government's supposed to look like. And maybe it's because they just are seeing how it's running now and assuming, well, this is how it's supposed to work. It's running this way now. No, we have gone so far off the rails, we're not even close to a republic anymore. Not even close. So we've got a chief executive that we just sent to Washington, D.C., who's finally said, I've heard this my whole life. I've demanded it my whole life. I wanted to do it the last time. I just didn't know the depravity and the depths to which the corruption runs, that they would run false accusations against me, false whistleblowers. They'd manufacture testimony. They would do everything they could to derail my goal of fixing the country. And I mean fixing it, getting it back to the owner's manual we call the Constitution. Oh, and he's so much more prepared this time. The worst thing the left could have ever done, folks, worst thing in the world is do what they did in 2020. Derail him from being reelected. Oh, are you suggesting 2020 was stolen? I've gone over this before. This is old hat to my show. I throw away every one of the claims of ballot stuffing, all the claims of the ballot boxes and the mules. I throw all that out. I want no one in this audience to think that I'm in any way referencing the people who counted ballots 100 times or boxes being pulled out from underneath desks when everybody said there was a water break. I'm not talking about any of that. If you're new to me, the only thing you need to know about 2020, the only thing you have to realize is, okay, there may be something to the whole stole the election thing, are the 51 spies who lied. That is a provable fact. There is no conjecture. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's not unprovable. It is a known fact. The Hunter Biden laptop was real. They had it for over a year. They knew it was going to come out in time for the election. They spent an entire year prepping social media that it was going to come out and to convince them that it was going to be a lie. And so they got 51 other spies who put their names, their reputations, and their titles on a piece of paper, knowing full well that the laptop was real because they, quote, needed to give Joe Biden a talking point at the debate. Case closed. They conspired to mislead the country and, by way of extension, the world. The world was lied to by 51 intelligence agents, including then Chief of Staff for the Biden campaign, who became Secretary of State, Antony Blinken. You can ignore everything else. That one fact is all you need. But you know what? Hey, thank you for doing that, guys. Thank you for doing that, and thank you for the continued lawfare. Thank you for showing the rest of the country the depths at which you were willing to go to crush someone who wanted to expose the rot and the corruption. Because now you've got a guy who's like, okay, I'm technically a lame duck. I can't be elected again. And I'm not trying to do the cool things to win favor for another election. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do what I wanted to do the first time. I'm going to fix it. We're going to get rid of the fraud. We're going to get rid of the waste. We're going to get rid of the abuse. I want to go to the phone lines here. By the way, 877-97-ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, 877-973-7425. We've got Dave who would like to weigh in. Dave, welcome to the program. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mr. Sanders, I appreciate your taking my call. I listen every day, and it's always great when you get a chance to fill in, and I appreciate it.
All right, cool. I got a couple minutes, so let's get to it. What is it?
Okay. What is your opinion on the trickle-down effect of all of these layoffs, which I think is really good that they're cleaning house? But what about folks that are like, well, now we can't order that pizza, and that's going to impact the pizza delivery guy? Or I got to mow my own yard now, and so I'm not going to be able to pay the landscaper because all of these layoffs.
Well, Dave, I may be the wrong person to ask, having lived my entire life in the private sector. I've been involved in layoffs, I've been involved in buyouts, and I've been involved in seeing whole divisions being so mismanaged that through no fault of the employees of their own, in an effort to save the company, we're all completely let go. I've seen it. It sucks, but it's life. And I will tell you this, Dave, our bloated federal government does not need 2+ million people to run these agencies. Have they not thought about how we can run more efficiently? Well, thankfully, we've got a guy in there who's helping Donald Trump, who's pretty good at figuring out efficiencies and doing things with technology rather than with human effort.
Yeah, I agree completely.
I'll tell you this, Dave. Someone asked me a long time ago, well, if we laid off half the workforce, that's 1 million people. I'm like, yeah, that's not 1 million enough. That should be more like 75% of the workforce should be gone, because I'm a big fan of the 80-20 rule. Anybody who's been in the public sector knows 80% of the work done by any company is usually done by about 20% of the people.
Wow, well said.
So, Dave, thank you so much. But I think the trickle down it's part of life. Get used to it. You got to get used to it. I actually talked about it on my show yesterday. I am sick and tired of federal, quote, public servants who think just because you work for the government, you can't be fired and you shouldn't be fired and that you're supposed to be guaranteed your job. That's not how life works. You're never guaranteed your job. The average person's going to have 5 or 6 career shifts in their lifetime. The days of thinking that you go work for a company right out of college and you'll be there for 40+ years doing the same thing and no worries, you can just do the minimum and just go home at the end of the day. No. Those days are long gone. The idea that there's this entitlement mentality in the federal government only goes to show it needs a shakeup. Because if everyone now thinks that that we can't live without them, well, that's a bad problem. No company should be built around the idea, oh, we can't live without these employees. No, you should be always looking for efficiencies and ways of doing things better and smarter, not just throwing a bunch of people at it and spending money wastefully. We'll be back with more of the Eric Erickson Show.
Vision Computer would love to be your partner in building a new computer. But listen, so I talk about the computers all the time. 404-COMPUTE, visioncomputers.com, that's where you want to go. But listen, we got a lot of new audience. Those of you in Mississippi, elsewhere, just listen to me. Let's say your company, you got computers, you're a small business, you need an IT guy, and you can't afford one. Now, I'm talking to those of you in California, Connecticut, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, wherever you are, including Georgia. Vision Computer can partner with you, so each of your employees will get a special number to call. Whenever they have a question about their computer, they can reach out to Vision Computer, and they'll take care of it. They can even remote in to help them do printer support, email support, you name it. It's $179 a year per computer, which is way cheaper than having the in-house person that, well, maybe they're there or not. Reach out to them. Tell them I sent you. You'll save even more money. Call them at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com. 404-COMPUTE. Let Vision Computers build your computers. Let them be your partner, your IT solution.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
221 Cool Rate Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Travel advisory west side inner loop 285 and northbound the inner loop South Atlanta Road exit 16. Pothole repair continues as you head up towards Smyrna Vinings. Slow from Hollowell Parkway. If you'd like, you can head up through downtown if you want to avoid it, but that's getting slower. 7585 northbound University Avenue up past Freedom Parkway. Southbound delays start right around 17th Street in Midtown, on and off the brakes down to earlier trouble cleared at University. This report brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Get on the go lunches at Whole Foods Market. Save 25% on all packaged sushi rolls with Prime through February 25th while supplies last. Shop in store or online. Terms apply. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
If it's happening on the streets of Atlanta.
U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Georgia announces his resignation.
If it's happening on the roads leading to Atlanta.
Some brake lights out of Cobb County, I-20 eastbound.
We've got it covered.
The U.S. Surgeon General is warning about a link between alcohol and cancer.
Your 24/7 news source.
Covering the stories that impact you.
Tune in throughout the day to stay up to date.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station.
Hi, I'm David Nicholas, financial advisor and president of Nicholas Wealth Management. It's hard to imagine, but one day in retirement, your income will stop. You may have been working for 30 or 40 years, but now you'll have to depend on the money you've saved for the next 30 years. How do you know if you've saved enough? What does it mean to spend confidently in retirement? One of the worst things that you can do is get to retirement and not know how much income your investments can produce. At Nicholas Wealth, we created a plan that will show you what your investments can potentially generate in dividends, interest, and growth in retirement. We call this our Spend Confidently plan. When's the best time to turn on Social Security? What are some of the best dividend-paying stocks available? Our CPAs and CFPs will show you what your income number is and how a diversified portfolio of income-producing investments could potentially provide you consistent monthly income. Our Retire Ready Income Report is a $1,000 value. We'll provide it completely complimentary if you've saved more than $250,000 for retirement and you give us a call in the next 10 minutes. Number to call is 404-890-5606. That's 404-890-5606, or you can go to nicholaswealth.com.
Nicholas Wealth is an independent financial services firm that uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is prepared for informational purposes only. It does not address specific investment objectives or the financial situation and the needs of any person. This is a paid advertisement.
Jeff and Roxanne here, proud and local owners of Rhino Shield, the ultimate exterior coating for your home.
Rhino Shield isn't just paint, it's better than paint because it will keep your home beautiful, backed by a 25-year transferable warranty. Plus, it comes in any color, even your wife's favorite.
Visualize Rhino Shield on your home and get a free estimate at rhinoshieldga.com.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Did you know that warts are caused by a virus? Hi, it's Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. A customer at Bread Beckers shared her story of frustration. Her daughter had warts, over 500 of them. Her beautiful, healthy daughter could not get rid of warts despite trying doctors, burning, freezing, ointments, you name it. We taught this woman that every nutrient needed to protect ourselves from viruses can be found in whole grains and real bread. She bought everything needed from Bread Beckers to make her own real bread at home. With this one simple change, her daughter's warts were gone in just 2.5 weeks for good. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of whole grains and real bread. If you're struggling with warts, high cholesterol, bowel issues, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, take the first step to a healthier life. Visit onlyrealbread.com. The Bread Beckers, onlyrealbread.com.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
Georgia, we don't need to tell you that your cost of living has gotten too high. Lawsuit abuse creates a hidden tax on your car insurance, healthcare, groceries, really on everything you need, and it's driving up prices. It's costing Georgia families over $5,000 every year. But there's a solution to stop lawsuit abuse and lower costs for hardworking Georgians. It's tort reform. Listen to Governor Kemp.
Our businesses and hardworking Georgians need relief.
The increased cost of doing business is simply passed on to the consumer.
Georgia needs tort reform, and they need it now.
Call your legislator and tell them to join Governor Kemp in stopping lawsuit abuse, eliminating this hidden tax, and passing tort reform now. Brought to you by Protecting American Consumers Together.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Want to be on the show? Come on, be on the show. Call Eric now at 877-973-7425.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Eric Erickson Show. Alan Sanders filling in, and we got a couple of folks stacked up in the calls. Let's see, I think I got just about 2 minutes. So let's go, and we're going to take Robert calling in from St. Augustine. By the way, my favorite beach town destination. Robert, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, hi, my friend. I was just wanted to jog your mind about the Obama administration in regards to Elon Musk. He had appointed about 1,000 czars at that point. We don't even know what they did. And remember, they took like 2 huge planes out to Lake Como in Italy and had a big party out there. And I was just thinking about, nobody's bringing up the Obama administration and what he did.
Well, of course. And Robert, I don't know if you probably don't catch my daily show, but one of the things I've been pointing out is how ironic that everyone's mad about the, quote, looking for fraud, waste, and abuse and reducing employees and reducing the size of the federal government. I played the Bill Clinton press conference where he actually had the exact same thing. And then I played the Obama press conference where he said, I'm not waiting for Congress to cut spending and to fire people. It's amazing how the media and, of course, the left has very short attention spans when it comes to what their side does, but is very upset about our side. I have said, or heard other people say, that why not make Elon Musk a waste czar, create a czar position so he's untouchable. But I don't think Donald Trump thinks he needs to do that. I think Donald Trump is still under the idea that I'm the president and I'm assigning him to an existing department to do an existing job, which is find fraud, waste, and abuse.
Well, any CEO would do that.
Any good executive officer should do that, absolutely. And that's who we have, and that's scaring the left like crazy.
Well, I think there's just a really wrong perception of what Democrats, and leaders are, because I remember Jay Leno. He had jaywalking, and he had a billboard, a board and everything, and it had like 5 mansions on it. And he was asking people, who do you think these would belong to? And of course, they were all bringing up Republican names and everything. He goes, actually, they're all owned by the Clintons.
No, only Clintons. Hey, sorry, I'm up against the clock here. I think we had a little hiccup there with the phone line, but yeah, it's amazing the perceptions people have. But if you were to pull away the labels and just say, hey, what do you think about this policy or that policy, and not tell you who brought it, it's amazing how many people would favor more conservative policies versus radical progressive.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's news and talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. DeKalb County says Police Chief Mirtha Ramos is on administrative leave. Officials declining to say why. She was the department's first female and longest-serving police chief in over 20 years. This comes as the county CEO announces a plan to boost police salaries. Big decision as the Fulton County School Board votes on whether or not to close 2 schools tonight. Board member Lily Pozatek says the decision impacts all schools, not just the ones that might close.
This will impact the entire county, north, south, east, west. So I want to make sure that we can support all of our students by giving them the very best educational opportunities and facilities across the board.
Park Lane Elementary in East Point and Spalding Drive Elementary in Sandy Springs are in danger of closing. Tonight's meeting starts at 6 o'clock. A Harbins Elementary School student faces discipline after bringing a gun on a school bus and showing it to other students. In a letter to parents, Principal Jimmy Lovett says several students reported their classmate after getting off the bus stop. No one's injured, but the school says they are taking the situation very seriously and the student could face criminal charges. Former Senate Majority and Minority Leader Mitch McConnell announces today he will not seek re-election next year.
My current term in the Senate will be my last.
The Kentucky Republican makes the announcement today on the Senate floor on his 83rd birthday. McConnell was first elected to the Senate in 1984. Emory Healthcare is expanding into all Minute Clinic locations in Georgia, offering in-network adult primary care to patients. Emory says there will be same-day access, extended evening and weekend hours at the Minute Clinics. Patients will also have access to Emory's hospitals and specialists. It is now 2:32, and this news is sponsored by Nelson Exteriors.
You wouldn't leave the door open when it's freezing cold outside, right? You just let all that cold air in. Christina Epworth's here. If you have a vented crawl space, that's exactly what is happening. The vents are letting cold air into your home, causing your heating bills to go up. But call my friends at American Crawl Space Solutions. They will encapsulate your crawl space, keeping the air under your home not just dry, but also nice and warm. AmericanCrawlSpaceSolutions.com, your best value for crawl space repair.
American Crawl Space Solutions. Foundations too.
Do you depend on space heaters and a fireplace to stay warm inside your home? This is Daniel Jape from Jape Services, your local and licensed heating and air experts. From routine maintenance to installing a new furnace or handling emergency repairs, when you call Jape Services, I guarantee you'll be treated like family. Get warm this winter with Jape Services. Visit japeservices.com, JAPE services.com.
We're the ones to trust, you can count on us. Jape Services.
A
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-935-6077. 800-935-6077. 800-935-6077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Sell your home with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate and receive the strongest cash offer in the industry. You'll save time and make the most money. There are no showings, no open houses, and no stress. Go to MarkSpain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
Are you heading out of town? Barlow Lexus of South Atlanta offers complimentary airport parking for their service guests. Let them care for your Lexus while you travel. Call 1-800-NEW-LEXUS to schedule your service appointment and utilize their airport parking concierge service.
At 2:34, Alex Williams in the traffic center.
Crash 85 southbound heading into Midtown before 17th Street, mostly off to the left. Hero GSP with that one. Pothole repairs wrapped up. 285 northbound, the inner loop around South Atlanta Road. Checking on a new slow zone into Cab. I-20 westbound approaching Panola Road, exit 71. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
And we have breaking news just into WSB. The Senate voting to confirm Kash Patel as the next director of the FBI. Right now, it's very cold outside. Sunshine, 35 degrees in Duluth. It's 32 in Douglasville and 35 in Jonesboro. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
Filling in for Eric today, Alan Sanders.
Oh, I'm so happy I was able to catch this during the break. I got word Kash Patel is confirmed. He is your new FBI director in a 52-48 vote. The two rhinos who did not vote for him were Murkowski and Collins. Ironically, the guy who found himself being the sole no vote on the last couple of folks, Pam Bondi and it was Pam Bondi, and I knew there was a name that was going to escape me. But Mitch the Turtle McConnell, yeah, he voted no on those two, and he was the only Republican who voted no. He voted yes. This guy can't figure out how to get back in favor. You know what? There's just... I get it. This happens in Hollywood. This happens, I think, in any kind of, Rush Limbaugh, who, by the way, we just passed his anniversary not that long ago of having his last show on the air before finally passing away. And horrible from cancer, not even knowing you have it. And then all of a sudden you go, wait, that doesn't feel weird. You go, oh, by the way, you got stage 4 lung cancer. Wait, what? When did that happen? He used to say politics was Hollywood for the ugly because it was all about performing. It was all about being on camera. It was all about being on stage. It was all about speechifying. You think that the audience loves you. You think you're there for the glory of your fans. That maybe that's part of the problem with some of our politicians. They think that we are their fans and that we're supposed to idolize them and we're supposed to revere them and we're supposed to stoop down and bend the knee and kiss their feet. And that's not how it's supposed to work. They're not celebrities. They're supposed to be elected representatives. I went on that monologue earlier in this hour. But in a 52-48 vote, we now have, when I think the final pieces Donald Trump has been waiting to get in place to start now moving forward to phase 2. I think phase 1, get Doge in there, start plugging into the systems, start crunching data. Start looking at where all these numbers are, trying to find all the inefficiencies, try to figure out where the money's been going, try to figure out just how bad is the problem. Sometimes you don't know how bad things are if you've never bothered to look. And I think the first step is let's get the data analytics going. And I got something to say about AI and all of this, and why I think Donald Trump is so far ahead of the curve of not just the people in our own country, but I think in terms of Western civilization, I think he is way ahead in seeing that AI is not going away. And we better be the masters of it, because if not, someone's going to become the master, and then we're all doomed. I truly believe in the wrong hands, AI will change life to such a degree that we may not even recognize society anymore. Before I go down that path, though, I want to get to the phones. We've got, by the way, the phone number is 877-97-ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, 877-973-7425. Let's go to Kevin from Kansas City. Kevin, what's on your mind?
How you doing today, Alan?
I'm all right. What's up?
Hey, couple quick points. First, I turned on the radio when you were talking about responsibility of our representatives in the House. I agree with what you're saying. However, I would go so far as to say that, the responsibility is on us, the voters. When these people go against our will of the people and we continue to vote them back into office, that's the issue.
Oh, 100%. So, we have an illiterate. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. So we need to get the message out to the people, which I think Trump's helping that a lot, that they are the ones in charge of the reform. We have the power of reform in our own hands. The second point I would like to make gets into the budgeting process. The budgeting process at the federal level is a joke, and that needs to be completely overhauled. As a business owner for many years and a CEO of multi-million-dollar businesses, I can tell you zero-based budgeting is how I run my businesses. And what that means for people that don't understand zero-based budgeting is you come back to the table every year when you're preparing your budget and you justify why you need the money that you need. It's not just a given. And that should be the role of our Congress every year. Is they should, instead of all these hearings they have all the time, they should be sitting there and talking to the people that run these government agencies, finding out what money they want, where it's going, how it's spent, and then whether or not they're going to approve it.
Kevin, this is something I have been railing for years and years and years because, number one, I was also in the private I'm still in the private sector, and I also worked for a lot of nonprofits. This whole idea of baseline budgeting is how we got in the problems we're in. We should go to zero-based budgeting every single year, make every department all along the chain justify, well, what do we need this year? Not, we spent $100 million last year, which means now we need 110. No, get to zero, justify every dime you think you need. And by the way, Kevin, we have to get our congressmen, men and women in the House, to get back to doing the job of individual appropriations and looking at the line items rather than these giant omnibus bills that crams everything into one bill, and it's either a yay or nay or the government shuts down. That's got to stop.
And you're exactly right with that. And I would say how that stops is, like I said, we have to change the way this is done. Congress, they should go over, like I said, every agency has a line item budget. And that line item budget should be scrutinized by our leaders every single year to the penny. And it should be either I have my people label their budget items as either essential, necessary, or desirable. And I would promise you right now, our budgets in the federal government would come back with everyone saying everything is essential. No, everything's not essential.
Correct.
Not everything's essential.
You want to know something else, Kevin, that I found out? I interviewed my local representative, and I said, I want to know that you guys are going to get back to taking this seriously. If Donald Trump puts all these things in place and you guys don't codify it and get back to doing your appropriations bills and looking at the line items, you guys are going to lose the support of the American people, and it's going to go right back to where it was the next time a Democrat comes in. He says, well, let me tell you one thing else we need to add that has been missing for decades. There's supposed to be an authorization piece. And I'm sure you as a private businessman know, just because somebody wants to spend against their budget, someone, usually a controller, has to confirm, well, is this really what was in your budget, or are you kind of lying to me? We need to authorize that expense. That complete authorization piece has been missing from government for decades.
Amen. You hit the key word there. The controller is probably has been one of the most key people in my financial business. So Yeah, I agree 100%. One last thing, and I'll let you go. A name that we need to be bringing up more and more is Mr. Russell Vought, okay, that President Trump has appointed to the Office of Management and Budget. You know, most people don't know what the Office of Management and Budget do. We don't have time to talk about that now, but I would tell you that's a person that we need to be writing letters to. That's the person and President Trump that if we as a society start putting the pressure on the Office of Management and Budget to change their ways, it could make a huge difference in balancing the budget and eventually lowering taxes for all of us.
And Kevin, I can tell you this, based on the plan and based on what it seems like was the strategy well before even knowing that they'd won, Russell Vought is going to make it his mission to follow the president's agenda.
Let's hope.
All right, Kevin, thanks so much for the call. Thanks for being out there. We appreciate that. Yeah, by the way, let me correct that. I thought it was 52-48. It was actually 51-49, I think, is the final vote. I had to get apparently one of the senators was late getting to the floor. I believe it was Senator, who was it? I had it right in front of me. But someone was late getting to the floor, and I don't know if he was able to get the vote in, but it was very, very tight with two Democrats, two rhinos, Murkowski and Collins, both saying no. But ironically, Mitch McConnell voting yes. But beyond that, it was straight party line. Not a single Democrat changed over. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You've got everybody that Donald Trump wanted in the key positions to be able to carry through investigations, to be able to look for the fraud, waste, and abuse, to be able to prosecute, to be able to investigate. He's got everybody exactly where he wanted. He's got the Rand Paul said it best yesterday. I don't know if you saw Rand Paul's tweet, the senator from Kentucky, libertarian at heart, a guy who's been trying forever to get back to a reasonable sized government. Like he's a lone voice, I feel sometimes, screaming. I think he's like with Representative Massey, always like, why are we doing it this way? Why do we let these bills go through? Why are we not getting back to the due diligence of looking at these budgets? Rand Paul said Donald Trump had approached him and said, can I get your endorsement? And Rand Paul said, I couldn't do it at the time. I knew what he said he wanted to do. I knew who he said he was going to appoint. But I also knew, hey, it's Donald Trump. He may be just saying it. He may be I didn't know. Rand Paul yesterday said, yeah, it's late, but it's genuine and it's heartfelt. I could not more enthusiastically endorse Donald Trump and the cabinet of people he's picked. He said, these are some of the exact same people I would have picked. Now, you may not be a Trump fan, but if you've been a Rand Paul fan and you've got Rand Paul saying that after watching the last 4 weeks, maybe you could be like those swing voters that we talked about earlier, that Frank Luntz had that glum look on his face, that look of like, I can't believe the swing voters are happy. Maybe, as the swing voters said, we don't like what he says, but we love what he's doing. And, speaking of love what he's doing, can I get you the latest Quinnipiac polls? I got this just popped in my feed. I was looking through during the commercial breaks. Quinnipiac poll, 22% of voters, not of the population, 22% of voters approve of the Democrat Party's job in Congress. Only 22% of all voters approve the way the Democrats are behaving themselves, the way they're handling the job of representing the party. Only 22% approve of what the Democrats are doing. Now, I'm not saying that the Republicans are doing a great job. We've got a 22% approval rating for the Republicans. It's a 40%. It's nearly double. It's not over half. So it goes to show you that nobody really likes Congress a whole lot. Maybe because they suck. I mean, let me put it this way. And I told my congressman this. I said, look, I love that DOJ is finding all this fraud. Love that they're finding all these dollars flowing to things that you're like, why are we paying for this? Why are we paying for that? How do we not know where that money's even going to? I love that they're finding it. But can I also remind all of our elected representatives, and maybe it's because I understand civics a little bit, when I hear one of these long-in-the-tooth representatives go to the cameras and go, I'm shocked, I tell you, just shocked where all this money's going. I go, wait a minute. That's your job. You're in the legislative branch in the House of Representatives. No money can be spent in this country until you guys write the bill for it. All spending, all bills that have to do with spending money start in the House. That is a constitutional provision. The president, he doesn't get to create a bill asking, spending money. He has to get the House to pass it. The Senate doesn't even get it. The Senate can talk about a budget, but it has to initiate in the House of Representatives. They have always held the power of the purse. If you've got a representative to your state, your district, who's pretending they're shocked, ask them, then that means you don't know what you passed. That tells me you don't know what you're voting on. It tells me you're not doing your job. Why should I send you back? Not a single member of the House of Representatives should be coming to the cameras going, I had no idea we were spending this money there. Because that's your job. And if you're telling me that you don't know where the money's going, you didn't even know what it was allocated for, it tells me you're rubber stamping things and you love the idea of being a politician, you love the power, you love the position, you love what it gives you, but you certainly aren't doing your job. If these young freshmen that have only been in there for 2, 4, maybe even 6 years, I'm going to give you a pass because you're still trying to figure out how this works. But you've been there for 12, 14, 18 years and you're pretending you're shocked. You don't know how all this money is flowing out the door. No money flows out the door without being passed first in the House. You guys are passing these budgets. You don't want to be thrown under the rug? How about we stop with these omnibus bills? How about we stop with these giant, enormous, throw everything in there, including the kitchen sink bills, and then threaten the world, if you don't pass this, the government shuts down. Yeah, well, you're throwing a bunch of crap in those bills and then using the force or the threat of shutdown to get your way. Get back to the 12 appropriation bills, get back to the line-by-line veto, and by the way, get back to instituting authorizations. Put a controller in place to validate that if you ask for money to be spent for your project, that it's actually valid and it's going to your project. These are simple things that the regular private sector has been doing for years. The fact that our public sector has been this mismanaged for this long, no wonder we're finding so much fraud, waste, and abuse.
Guys, I've been telling you about Old Glory Bank. It is my bank. It's been my bank since before they were an advertiser. In fact, I asked them to advertise because I'm such a big fan of the bank. You can get an account online at oldglorybank.com. Oldglorybank.com. You can get you can get mortgages, you can get CDs, you can get car loans, you can get a no-fee checking or savings account. You can get a business account for your business. They're conservatives. They want to do business with conservatives. They'd love to have you on board. OldGloryBank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Here's the thing, though. You can also buy stock in Old Glory Bank, freely transferable stock. All you have to do is go to own.oldglorybank.com, own.oldglorybank.com. Now, owning stock in Old Glory Bank, it's not FDIC insured. Investments go up and down. Terms and conditions apply, but you can find out more. I've done it. You can do it too. Own.oldglorybank.com, or just get an account with them. They're a great bank, good people, businesses, individuals welcome. OldGloryBank.com.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next.
251 Cool Day Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Right lane stall through Lithonia. I-20 westbound, Panola Road, exit 71. You're slowing back toward Turner Hill. WSB's own Smiley Mark McKay says traffic lights malfunctioning in Buckhead. Lennox Road at Georgia busy throughout the afternoon, and downtown filling in southbound from the 85-400 merge as you head down to I-20. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
He's the guy at the desk next to you.
I've got a sense of humor.
He's your co-pilot for the ride home.
The driver of this vehicle is a better human being than you are.
He's Eric Von Hessler.
I'm here to tell you the truth.
Eric Von Hessler.
Today at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Your roof has been impacted. Heavy rain, strong winds, damaging storms. Home Fix-It show host Dave Baker here. I recommend you get a free roof analysis from my award-winning roofer, Findlay Roofing. No obligation, no charge. FindlayRoofing.com. Roof.
Coming up, from the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra, a Delta classical concert featuring Robert Spano, conducting Copland's Appalachian Spring and Vaughan Williams' Fifth Symphony, March 20th and 22nd at Symphony Hall. Details at aso.org. The following is a paid commercial announcement.
Governor Kemp is protecting consumers from high costs and standing with small businesses.
The failure to act on meaningful tort reform will continue to put Georgians and their livelihoods in serious jeopardy.
Georgians are paying a hidden tax because of a broken system, over $5,000 a year. Car insurance, health care, everything costs more. Call Senator Strickland at 404-656-0508. Tell him to stand with Governor Kemp and pass tort reform. Paid for by Protecting American Consumers Together.
It starts as a nuisance and you just put up with it, but then that awful joint pain impacts everything in your life. Walking, climbing stairs, even getting in and out of the car hurts. Hey, it's Mark here. Talking about that always there joint pain in your knee, hip, shoulder, and back. But there's good news. QC Kinetics. Groundbreaking treatments for arthritis pain. Long-term relief now possible. At QC Kinetics, their regenerative treatments are sweeping the nation. Tens of thousands of QC Kinetic patients would tell you, don't wait, make the call today. Talk to the local medical pros. These new orthobiologic cellular therapies, including PRP treatments, can revitalize your joints without going under the knife. Look, joint pain does not get better with time, so before it's absolutely debilitating, see if you're a candidate for these life-changing regenerative treatments. Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation, 770-285-8026. That's 770-285-8026, 770-285-8026.
WSB Atlanta, WSB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices. Just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
The morning rush hour, the evening rush hour, and everything in between.
All lanes being held. 575 north at Highway 92, exit 7 rolling.
Tune in 24/7 with the Triple Team Traffic Center.
Officials diverting you onto Mansell Road.
Your source for Atlanta's traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Taking the complicated and making it simple. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
And you can't get much more simple than me. Welcome back as we wrap up the Eric Erickson Show. We're going to go get one last call in. We're going to say, Jason, welcome to the program. You get to be the last caller of the show. What's on your mind?
Super honored. Thank you. You're doing a great job today. I just think that there's one thing that the liberals are missing. They think by tearing down the bureaucracy that we are threatening our democracy. It's not one and the same.
Nope.
They are not what runs our country, and everything that comes out of their mouth, it's almost, do you not hear what's coming out of your mouth? This is what we truly want.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a man that knows how to run a business. He's helping us for free and doing your job. And you're not embarrassed by it? It's crazy.
Well, here's the thing, Jason. For so long, and we're finding out, apparently a lot of the media was propped up with a lot of money in slush funds that nobody knew until Doge came along. But a lot of these institutions, they could throw out these really wacky opinions and get a lot of people to believe it because it was being repeated nightly on the news. I think a lot of that programming, like our mental programming, is going away. And we're starting to wake up and start looking to alternative sources, alternative news, people like me and others like Eric that are giving you the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey used to say. And I think the more we start realizing that there is a huge difference between our republic versus the institutional bureaucracy. We want our republic back, and we have to get rid of the bureaucracy to get there.
Amen. Thank you for all you guys do.
Thanks, Jason, and appreciate you being out there. Very quickly, Donald Trump, I said this, I would cover it. I know there's not enough time to go in depth. What Donald Trump is doing with Elon Musk, just because he's a billionaire, has nothing to do with his money, has nothing to do with his fortune. Elon Musk is on the pulse of the fact that AI is going to be here. There's nothing you're going to do to stop it. We need to own it. J.D. Vance gave that speech last week. His AI speech was, hey, guys, it's cute. Everybody wants to own it, but we're the United States. We're going to own it. Because for the longest time, we all make mistakes as nations, the United States is still the single greatest force for good in the world. We cannot allow the malevolent actors out there to get control of AI, especially when we start talking about AGI, where it's artificial generalized intelligence, and eventually get to where we've got almost divine intelligence, where it becomes almost a life form. And we're heading that direction. Elon Musk is on the cusp of that. The reason we're finding what we're finding is because the AI agents that exist now to be able to just do a lot of mass data gathering are finding the connections, finding the threads. This country is going to be completely different 18 months from now with the AI revolution. And this administration gets it. Doge is part of that new AI revolution. Take care, everybody. Thanks for letting me be here. Until next time.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
If you're thinking of getting your sweetheart diamonds for Valentine's Day of any type, bracelet, any kind of jewelry, the good news is the price for dug out of the earth diamonds is down by about 20% this year from last Valentine's Day. But that's the small news. The big news is that lab diamonds, which are chemically identical and incredible, have been going down in price. I recently got my wife a pair of earrings that are diamond studs, I guess is what they're called. And they were so crazy dirt cheap, and they are so beautiful and sparkle like you can't believe. And I compared the cost of dug out of the earth diamonds, because these are lab diamonds, they were 1/10 the cost. I'm Clark Howard.